Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Hello, hello.
It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. But first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Mia.
We have to cut it off in our prime because they're already out there for day 4. And possibly the last day of this test match from Centurion. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. I hope you can hear me. Please let me know. Please let us know on Twitter that we are broadcasting. Had all sorts of trouble with the satellite signal this morning and getting us on air. The bear is nowhere to be seen. He could be, I don't know, under his covers, unable to get out. But he's not answering his phone. So I'm hoping that we're there with you. Welcome along if indeed you have joined us. 2 slips in the gully as Philander is into Burns, 77 not out overnight. I'm Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and alongside me, well, a couple of chairs away from me at the moment, the only other man in the studio, it is the Bish. The Bish has returned.
I have returned indeed. Hello,
Where have you been? Someone like Bishop Auckland?
Bishop Auckland, just because I had Bishop in. No, I was up in Norton, near Middlesbrough, yeah.
Middlesbrough. Oh,
No,
Middlesbrough. Why? Did they say why
£2.60 a punt? No.
£2.60 a punt. There's Dutchbird Kate.
Oh,
there
yes,
she
again.
Is. And Roger's here. Come in and take over. I'll just do this ball, and we will be a 3-man team once again. Philander in bowls right on line, and behind it gets Rory Burns and defends up the pitch. Give us some tweets and I shall change chairs.
What's that? You want some tweets? Oh, of course, yes. Lennox Lear is with us. Says, good morning, don't mind me. I'm only here for the miracle or the comedy collapse. Niall Richardson says, the wife's a psychopath and the dog is nuts. Does that count as problems?
Well, yes, it does, actually. So, well, you're in good company this morning.
I don't know either, but we'll have to take your word for it, Niall.
Roger's moved to the jingle chair. It's very cloudy at Centurion. In comes Philander again. That one dies a little bit on the way through to the keeper, and was left alone by the left-handed batsman. Should we jingle up a few people, see if we can bring some life to this operation?
Here's your bowler.
Oh, well, I'm the type of guy who will never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. I kiss 'em and I love 'em, 'cause to me they're all the same. I get so gosh darn hammered, I don't even know their names. 'Cause I'm a philanderer, yes, a philanderer. I sleep around.
Again, left outside the off stump by Rory Burns, and it's all going on now. Tony's getting out of his seat because we've got to put the studio lights on in the kerfuffle that's been going on before. Now probably some piece will fall out onto Tony's head, putting him out of action for the rest of the day, and we'll be down to just Roger me. Oh, there he is. There's some bit. I told you some bit would fall down. It always happens. That's what happens when I try to do it as well. Rassie van der Dussen is applauding his team, imploring his team to get going. It does look very, very dark there, as it does in the studio. You do know where the knob is, don't you? It's on the side, I think. The red thing is in. Bowls again. Left alone outside the off stump. And through to the keeper it goes. It's an absolute technological disaster today. Good job we're not in charge of a nuclear plant, isn't it? That would be, we'd probably have just destroyed the planet. Burns, as we know, was dropped when he was on 20 by Rassie, but he wasn't helped by Quinton de Kock diving across in front of him again. Do you want to come and sit down, Tony? I have turned on those lights before. I think I might be able to able to manage it. Hang on, take over the next ball.
Oh, right. Oh, gosh, yes. 3 slips, a gully and a hendo looming large. And this one is through to the keeper. And there was no run. Well, no! And let there be light. And there was light. Blinding light, I think. Is it me, or are they just brighter than normal as well?
We've slightly altered the positioning of them, so they may be shining more brightly into our faces, which is no good. Anyway, we have Fred coming in an hour, and we might even have 2 Freds today. We may be celebrating the return of the real Fred after a rather difficult winter for him. He's not been very well at all. So we hope to welcome him back and hear his dulcet tones on guerrilla cricket. And England need 255 more runs to win. Rog, can they do it?
Yeah, of course they can.
Oh, right, okay, that's positive. But of course, as someone said yesterday on Crick Tracker, they'll get to 200 for 3.
Yeah.
Which is typical England. And here comes the new bowler. And it is this man.
What's his name? He's a high roller.
He's into Denley, and Denley defends on the back foot.
He's killing this bowler. He can sink your oats like the Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one harder. What's his name? What's his name? Tell me, what's his name? KG.
Now, there's not a particularly big crowd in it. The attendance seems to have been quite good, I think, for the first 3 days. Obviously, there are quite a few England supporters out there, but even South Africa supporters would be coming in this morning, sniffing victory. This is full straightish delivery, clipped to mid-wicket by Denley. But they're a very religious bunch, aren't they? They're probably all at church this morning, aren't they?
Yeah, let's hope so.
For the first.
Our guys.
No. Well, no. Yeah, sorry, what you going to say?
Sniffing the brides later on when they arrive,
Yes.
that might lure them to the ground.
For a moment you're going to say sniffing the bride, but there you go. Maybe there is some of that going on.
Yeah, could be.
Wasn't that a song by Dave Edmonds?
Sniffing the bride.
Oh, no, it was I Knew the Bride, wasn't it?
Right, sniffing the bride. Would be a very strange title for a song. Rabada bowls and gets that to lift, and Denley does well because he drops his hands as he sees it doing that. If it had been just maybe, I don't know, a foot, a yard fuller, he would have been drawn into the shot, but just had a split second to react, and did so well. 121 for 1, waiting for the first run of the morning. I'd like to say to you that the GPL is open, but come on, you'd be expecting miracles from us.
Well, in fact, we have a show on air in itself.
It's a minor miracle.
Minor miracle.
Denley's on 10, waits for Rabada. Rabada is in, and rather uneasily he jabbed that away, but quite effectively away through gully and down to the third man boundary. The England fans down there, a few of them applaud, and it's 4 runs. Over a 4. So those are the first runs of the morning. It's strange, isn't it, Rabada? I mean, I know we talk about it, in fact, he's got that extra pace, but he does go for a few, doesn't he?
Yeah, certainly in this game he's gone for about over 5 and over in both innings.
Yeah. You wouldn't think that was common to him because to have an average of 22 per wicket is pretty strong. Rabada in again, Fuller this time, and just for a moment I thought that Joe Denley, as he planted his front foot, was going to go through with a expansive drive, but he at least restrained himself, thought perhaps it's not quite there, and ended up just defending it into the covers. Who's joined us on the Twitter sphere?
Well, Grits and Grats was who was kindly telling us that we were in dark mode.
Right, okay.
However, we think we've corrected that, and we're now blinded by the light.
Some people think it's better for
Bruce
us
Springsteen.
to see us in the dark.
Well, that's pretty much what he was saying. I didn't read the whole tweet.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Rabada in to complete the over, and it's a little bit too wide outside the stump. Moving further, Denley reads it well and leaves it. Right, back to the tweets.
Messi Nugez.
Messi Nugez.
We quite like the old one. We're reaction. We don't like change.
No.
Bonjour à l'eminence gris de guerrilla, he says in Spanish.
Oh, goodness.
Don't let the hope get you. No, there's no danger of that.
No,
Not with Hendo here.
indeed not.
Durban Oak, I'm watching on my South African provider using a VPN link. Fine for me. Yeah, we got it working. God knows how.
Yeah, we turned everything off. The usual thing, ultimately just turn everything off and wait for it to come back again.
A combination of prayer and swearing is the recommended technique.
You were praying and I was swearing.
Yeah, well, I was actually. I got the telly to work. I'll have you know.
You did. You've got patience. I haven't.
Jesus Christ! I think what you're saying is I have marginally more patience than you, which is still fuck all.
Not a great.
Chris Drew says, "Morning all from Normandy. Oh, bonjour. Listening whilst attacking a small mountain of ironing."
Oh dear, oh dear. Lovely ball by Philander, just gets it to nibble away from the left-handed Rory Burns, who does have a little prod at it. Then chewing vigorously on his gum, he wanders down the wicket to see if there's anything that he can do to repair it. And I don't think it was particularly due to the wicket. There are some cracks on this surface now, as we know.
Indeed. Well, and Chris, who's attacking his mountain of ironing, I hope that's not leaving him feeling a little flat. Stick with us, and we'll try and cheer you up.
Yes. I hate ironing. I like dry cleaners and going to them, to be honest. 2 slips in the gully, ring of 3 on the offside, 2 on the on, man down at long leg as well, and again a little bit of movement, perhaps a tiny bit too short if you're being hypercritical, because Rory Burns has time to adjust and defend.
I like ironing because I find it quite calming. It's
some people say that.
And as well, you can probably listen to something while you're doing it, and then what it means is you can't be doing anything else, anything more strenuous. Do you know what I mean? You've got that 20-30 minute bubble where you're just standing doing something pretty simple and low energy.
I don't find ironing simple though. I find it very irritating, because you know how you do one bit and then you move on to the next bit and the other bit goes all crinkly again. I'm just not very good at it, I suppose.
Oh, Hendo, we'll give you a lesson.
We'll have a tutorial. He's in again, bowls outside the off stump. You'd have thought it got to my age that I would have learned to iron, but no, I'm sorry. I'm pathetic. I'm pathetic, really. Left alone again. 79 miles an hour. 125 for 1 is the score. Yeah, I've never understood this calming. People say that about gardening, that it's calming, but you know, I can't tell one plant from another.
Oh yeah, no, gardening's beyond me. It's too.
But my mother
too
used to
much
say that
variation.
when she could garden. She said it found it very therapeutic. And if anyone needs therapy, it's me.
I've sussed out now why Niall Richardson was telling us about his wife being a psychopath.
A psychopath?
A psychopath. The dog is a psychopath along the side of the Thames.
We'll come back to that then, as Philander is in. Sun breaks through, and again, Rory Burns leaves with good judgment just outside the off stump.
He was responding to your question about, Gorilla Cricket's our question, Sky problems in South East London. Anyone else got problems? That's rather an open-ended question.
It is.
You never know what you're going to get.
Well,
Messi Jez had replied, only counts as problems when you recognise that the dog and the spouse are just mirrors for you.
I would be worried if you were meeting a psychopath on the cycle path. That would not be good. That would be very... I did once meet a psychopath on a cycle path, and when I was very young, and he made me cry. And then when he made me cry, he got all guilty and tried to give me sweets. I was only about 8 at the time. In comes Philander again. A little bit more effort in that, but again it just dies a little bit as it's left alone by Burns, showing a lot of good concentration outside the off stump at the moment. Anyway,
Mog said, is it just me or is the broadcast a bit fucked? We think we're on top of it now. The lights are on. But you're not home.
The lights are at home and 3 people are at home.
The lights are on. 3 of us are at home. We've got cricket to watch, and we think the sound's going out on all platforms as it should. If you're sensing anything different, Mog, now let me or us or indeed anybody just tell the bloke next door anything. No, tell us.
Well, I left 3 voicemails with the bear, and the one that he'll pick up first will be the one that says, "Get the fuck up, you lazy bastard. We've got problems." Anyway, here comes Philander. That's straighter and flicked to mid-wicket by Burns. It's maiden, and the score remains 125 for 1.
Leo was saying, no, it's not just you. I think that's in response to Mog, so we hope that is all fixed now. Niall Richardson, who, as you recall, had the problems with both wife and dog, said the dog might be, her indoors isn't in a league of her own. Pirate Badshaw on the high seas says, vital statistics, plenty of Sky problems there. Okay, good. Mog says, I thought perhaps they were trying out some new cut-up Japanois version of the theme song for a bit. Oh, did we have problems? Oh, Lord, we didn't know that.
Oh, no, well, I cut the theme song off halfway through. I mean,
right.
Yeah, that's probably
because we actually saw someone was about to bowl the first...
Yes, exactly. We were so late in getting into our various places. Rabada starts the new over. Bowles hits Denley on the pad. They appeal, but I think that was going down the leg side. It wasn't a convincing appeal. Chris Gaffney is unmoved.
Urban Oak suggests that you can turn the light back off when Not Fred comes on.
Hey. He gets a lot of love, doesn't he, Not Fred? He's probably one of my most popular broadcasters. But as I said, real Fred we're hoping, and we've got Roger's mate, Tom's coming back, isn't he?
Yeah, Tom Haycock's after lunch, cricket lunch.
He's a musician, a fellow musician, but of a different sort, I think.
Yeah, he's a singer-songwriter. Last time he was on, he talked about it a bit.
Yep, indeed. Onto the back foot goes Denley, straight to ball, but defends comfortably up to Elgar, I think it is, at extra cover.
He's a very shrewd cricket brain as well, of course.
Does he play? Have you played with him? Did he play in your team?
Yeah, he's a good bowler.
Ah.
He's reduced. He's very savvy as he
As he
reaches
gets older.
the end of his 30s. He's just cut his run up way down. Hasn't lost any pace.
Wow.
Comes in an awful lot. You'd like him, Hendo. He comes off a really angled run up off about 3 paces.
Wow.
Good flop. Good mane of hair flopping in the breeze.
Wonderful. I
And
think we
then
need.
sends down these real testers. Nibbles it around.
Oh, I don't like that off short runs. I never did like that. Oh, now Denley pushes forward. I'm not sure whether he got an edge to that, but if he did, it didn't carry by any means. It was well short of de Kock, who had some difficulty in just actually stopping it in the end. But, not too much excitement, so maybe he didn't actually touch it.
He's such a shrewd cricket brain that the last time he was on, he was anointing Hasib Hamid as the future of English batsmanship.
Won't we?
But we don't have to remind. Well, we all were,
I
of
think
course
we pretty
were.
much all were, yeah. Well, let's hope he enjoys a new lease of life at Nottinghamshire, is it not? That
That's
he's
right.
gone to?
Yeah.
Nottinghamshire on the way have been sort of on the down, haven't they, recently? Onto the back foot goes Denley, defends this one up to mid-off, where Philander fields.
Quite a few people with us on Cricket Tracker, of course.
Hello!
Rahul Yadav is with us, so hello to you. MD Almain Hossein is with us, fantastic hi to you. And Sapshnaf, no, I said that wrong. Saiplasnath Ajay. I'm sure I said that wrong, but hello to you and welcome indeed.
Yep, welcome to all of you on Cricket Tracker. Of course, you can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on facebook.com/Gorilla Cricket. In comes Rabada again, outside the off stump, left alone by Denley, lifting his bat high above his head. 142 k's, that's 88 miles an hour.
Diana Patterson said it appears that despite listening to you live, your sound is out of sync with the images.
That does happen.
That does happen.
That
from
means
time
you need
time.
to slow down your sky.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do who find that irritating.
Abhishek is with us. Says greetings from Bombay, Tony, Hendo, and Rog. Hello to you, Abhishek.
Oh, full ball down the leg side, in fact, though, and Denley tries to flick it on his way, but can't make contact. Was looking for the Yorker there, but got the angle all wrong.
I think that was a maiden, at least.
It was a maiden.
For KG, so.
Yeah, so he's stopped the flow of runs off his own bowling to a certain extent. So a couple of maidens in a row, 125 for 1 is the score. The target, a reminder, is 376. And we will open the GPL if someone else gets here, and I can go off, and I think I know how to do it, but we shall see. Now let's. We've got the mallet. The mallet is coming out, not Ashley. The mallet is coming out to deal with the footholes where they're obviously developing too much. Do you ever find that problem when you're batting and the foothole, and you sort of find yourself overbalancing back into the foothole?
Yeah.
It really annoys me, that. Bloody bowlers, eh? Bloody bowlers creating, I don't know, problems for batsmen. It'd be strange if he got that all wrong and smashed Philander's toe while he was doing it. That might bring a rather premature end to his Test career rather earlier than he expected.
I wasn't ignoring you. I was checking. Someone said that it was still day 3 highlights on the website, but I've just checked and it appears not to be.
Good.
So we must have solved that.
Right, it may be your problem. Maybe you need to readjust and, I don't know, turn off, turn on again.
Messi is definitely not a fan of ironing.
No.
No, he says in great big letters. Ironing is the tool of the devil to make us all feel inadequate.
It's
Crinkles in
exactly.
clothes are natural and sustainable and should be allowed to live as nature intended. I think you'll find that's crinkles in skin as well, Messrs. The same
Yeah.
rule applies.
Yeah, indeed. Philander into Burns, and Burns still looking for his first run of the morning. Just clips that off middle and leg to mid-wicket. Lots of encouragement from Faf du Plessis in the slips.
Should we jingle up the batsman?
Oh, why not? Yeah, we've completely forgotten to do that, haven't we?
Here's the man facing.
He's good The driver, the champion from Surrey. His mustache is ugly. Got a shot finally, and his name is Rory Burns.
Trundling in again, and once more getting it to nibble a little bit, but it's skidding through really. He's not getting a lot of bounce, is he, Philander? I mean, that's not necessarily his forte, but it's I guess a softish ball by now. I'm not sure how many overs England have batted now, but it's probably 30 plus, isn't it? 30-40 overs.
My imagination, or has he put on a tiny bit of weight, or is the fact that he's let his hair grow out a little bit,
Who, Philander?
yeah, make him just to contribute to a general air of substance?
Well, I think
Greater substance.
His stomach looks bigger, but his face looks thinner. He's got a fade cut apparently, according to Genro. That's the technical term. Outside the off stump, left alone again by Burns, and there is no run.
He hasn't managed to bring the ball back to the left-hander much, Philander. He tends to all this, and he hasn't ever gone round the wicket,
No.
which is very en vogue. But he, not to say he can. I think he's tried to, but at times he'll stray onto the leg stump, and Burns has clipped him. But there's never been that one that's pitched on off and then just straightened. It's always gone away from the edge.
Well, he's so consistent in getting close to the stumps, isn't he,
Yeah.
that when he goes round the wicket, that must be a little bit of a difficulty for him. In he comes, carrying that little bit of extra ballast, and onto the back foot goes Rory Burns. A back of a length delivery just outside the off stump, played into the covers. Something's tickling Tony.
Well, it is. Mog says he can hear us now, a bit crackly, like a wartime broadcast.
Germany calling, Germany calling.
England have won the Ashes.
Hey!
Toby Chad says, I might be totally missing the obvious, but where is the live player on your website? Top left-hand corner, Toby.
Is it top left or top right?
It's up the top.
Somewhere at the top.
There's a little
It should
arrow.
be,
There's an
if
arrow.
If you're on, it will be top left.
Depends
If
on
you are on a mobile device.
If
most
you're on a
of them.
computer,
If you're on your laptop, I'll hold on that for a second.
again outside the off stump, and Burns has a look at it and decides to let it go once more.
If you're on a laptop, then it's likely to be top right.
Yes, there we go. There we go. Keshav Maharaj is signing a South African flag down on the boundary. He's the man who's got the only wicket so far. Very annoying for Dominic Sibley, who batted pretty well, I think we can say. Was just beginning to look the real deal. And then one stuck in the pitch a little bit as he went back, and he gave a return catch to the left arm spinner. So just a little pause. Just the one scoring shot this morning that went for 4 through third man. Otherwise, it's been defence all the way from England, and once more defence in one sense, in the fact that Burns has left it. And that is the third maiden on the trot. England don't want to get too bogged down here, though, do they? But it's as long as they're, just tiring out the bowlers, that's all well and good, I would say.
Well, I say to a point, yes, I agree with you. Grits and Grats says it's been a bit like watching badly dubbed Bruce Lee film lately. Waiting for you guys to start fighting, brackets, mild delay in picture to sound on YouTube this test.
Yeah!
Well, I wonder what you were doing. Do you remember the Odour Eaters ads from years ago? It's the charcoal. They'd hold up this shoe, say, it's the charcoal. And 2 minutes later, you'd actually hear the voice, so the mouth would work. I mean, it was the ultimate badly dubbed ad.
Oh, it wasn't deliberate.
I remember it from my childhood. No, not deliberate.
Oh,
No,
right,
not at all.
okay. Rabada, we're going to... now pulled firmly by Denley. Has that gone all the way? Might well have done. It has. What a second shot of the morning that is. Picks it up beautifully. We're going to jingle him in a minute, but first we should recognise what a great shot that was.
Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex.
Oh, that really is a very good shot. Very good shot. Just in the perfect position for a classic pull shot. And he makes sure it goes up. He knows there's no one out there. Rabada in. Oh, that's a good reply. It fizzed off the surface. But again, well watched by Denley, who had nothing to do with it. Denley has moved on to 20, 131 for 1. Should we jingle Joe boy?
Joe Denley, he's almost as old as this theme song, but Chef is gone and we need someone to bat at the top of the order. Joe Denley, he's also a part-time bowler,
can do leg spin, but he's no Ravi Ashwin. He'll need help from the heavy roller, Joe Denley.
Well, I think we can fairly say that that 6 somewhat upset Kagiso Rabada, because the next ball after that good reply is quite a fierce bouncer, which Denley ducks underneath, but Quinton de Kock has to reach high into the sky to pull out of the air. 131 for 1. 10 runs this morning, all to Denley from 2 shots. Rabada in, bowls again. Oh, now that jumped on him again. He had to take the bottom hand off the bat to control it. Managed to steer it into the onside. And there is no run.
Messenger says the YouTube feed is solid. Lennox Lear says the stream is still a bit choppy sound-wise. Diana Patterson says, no, I'm watching you on Sky. I'm not watching you on Sky. I'm watching you on YouTube, and the words coming out of your mouth is out of sync with your facial expressions.
Yeah, we do that deliberately. You can't actually see our mouths because they're behind microphones, so we're actually... Look, you see, it seems like Roger's talking, it's coming, and it's my voice. It's amazing. Another short ball from Rabada, which Denley has no great difficulty with.
But then there's a flood of things are getting better. Mark Zip. Hello,
Things
Mark.
can only get better.
Oh, good.
only
You're
get
better than
better.
before. Sound is like Exelons out of Battlestar Galactica. Now it's just a sort of crackle, chucking the mic dynamics on. Suggest replugging that mic.
I think we may be the 6th sequel to Star Wars. Is that probably what we
Oh,
are?
I don't know. There's probably 26th now.
Oh,
isn't
yeah,
there?
probably. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I've only ever seen one of them. Rabada in, final ball of the over. Denley forward, meets it crisply and pushes it to Elgar in the covers. That is the end of the over. Rabada has bowled 12 overs, has none for 58. England are 131 for 1.
Message says, me too. Abhishek says, same for me on Simple Radio. Knuckle says, morning.
Hello.
Listening while I get ready for a morning train to Coventry. We've been trying to send him to Coventry for ages, never succeeding, but it seems to be he's now finding his own way there. He says, where mine and my partner's parents will be meeting for the first time.
Oh!
The GPL is already open.
Oh, well done.
Well,
well
so
done.
big news on both fronts. The GPL is open, and Knuckles meeting his other half's mum and dad. How exciting.
That is, that's going to be...
The setup was done last night for the GPL, not the meeting.
Right, okay, well in that case I can tell you that to start with there's about just over £70 in the pot. If you want to take part in the GPL, this is how you do it. You go to our website, gorillacricket.com, gorilla with 1 R and 2 L's, which is the only way to spell it. You go to competitions, register if you haven't already done so, but if you have already done so, you'll know what to do, won't you? For every guest, you pay us £1, as in comes Philander, bowls to Burns, and Burns watches this come right level with him, and then just dabs it out in the offside. For £1, you can guess how many runs will be scored in the day, and if you get it on the nose, you get all the money that's in the pot. I should say, of course, that if more than one of you, I don't think we've ever had more than one of you getting the same score and getting it right. But if you were to do that, then obviously you'd share the prize fund.
Or your celebrity death match as an alternative option.
Or super over.
A super
We
over.
invite you down for a super
would do
over
it,
in the back
wouldn't it?
garden.
Yep.
So yes, that's what happens. So please take part in that. It helps with financing guerrilla cricket. Philander in again, and again a little bit of nibble. He plays this off a thick outside edge down into the gully, and there's no run.
He's showing really good judgment, Burns. Knowledge of where his off stump is. He's been able to leave those tight ones. Like I said, nearly everything has gone away. Might be pitching on off, but so far everything has gone away from it. Perhaps it's a long setup from Philander, and if he can just snake one back or get one to keep low, I think that'll be another target for the South Africans as this pitch gets older.
Yeah, gets more worn, definitely. I think that yes, if Philander is a skiddy bowler anyway, but he's really not getting very much bounce at all, is he? In he comes again to Burns, and Burns is looking for his first run of the morning, and first shot in anger, but as he chops it away square, Anrik Nortje pops round to his left to do the fielding. So Burns remains on his overnight 77, and England are 131 for 1. Welcome along to Guerrilla Cricket. I am Gorilla Hendo,
Definitely.
or Cat Sitting Hendo, if you want to follow us on Twitter. And I seem to be losing Twitter followers by about 5 a day since I've been ranting about the election. Rog McCann is alongside me. He is Rog Pineapple on Twitter. And Tony Bishop is on the tweets chair, and he's Tony Bishop 1 on Twitter. That's how to follow us and listen to all our wisdom of politics and cricket and, I don't know, various other nonsense. Philander then, halfway through his 14th over, still very economical, just 20 runs against his name. He's in, bowls to Burns, fuller delivery, just props forward, guides it down into the gully. Again, no run.
Saroj Kumaguda, who's so good they named him twice, says hi, so hello to you. Jermaine Green is with us, Sunil Makwana is with us, Mudsar Khan is with us, Abhishek Deman says hello guys.
Hello.
Like my gaming page on Facebook. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those.
Well, we may put the bear in touch with you actually.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It's always great to have you along on Crick Tracker. Crick Tracker is a wonderful website in India, cricktracker.com, where they have an incredible abundance of stories. Driven straight this time, a little bit of a checked drive from Burns, so still he can't get underway on the scoreboard this morning.
The wonderfully named, oh, hello.
Oh my goodness, now what's happening? We've
home
got a
of Formula
reminder
1,
about
we
the
don't want
home of
that.
Formula 1 at 8:30. I don't know what that means. Go away! Get off the screen!
The wonderfully named Old Fart at Play says it's still a bit crackly, but that could be the bear who was accidentally sucked into the computer mainframe and trying to communicate his situation via the use of static, a little like Tron.
Okay, well, I'm hoping that we're not going to suddenly switch to the Formula 1 I think we actually have to
You could go into
selectively
full-on Murray Walker mode.
I can see enough to tell you that Burns has nearly got his first run in the morning and thought he had done. But it's a good stop at mid-wicket by Dean Elgar, who seems to be everywhere this morning. He's been in the gully, he's been at mid-wicket, he's been at extra cover. And that is the end of the over. It's another maiden. So I think we've had, 3 maidens in a row, only broken by that wonderful pull over mid-wicket for 6 by Joe Denley. They haven't swapped ends this morning. Burns has taken it all from Philander, and Denley has dealt with Rabada.
Messi New Jazz, I beg his pardon, says, good luck with the awkward silences, Knuckle. 2 words you never very rarely hear together, silence and knuckle.
Yes, that's very true.
Gautam Gobetkar DMD says Warren ?
No, I'm not Shane Warne. I used to be quite a good leg spinner when I was 11. Short ball from Rabada, which Denley evades.
That was in response to the conversation about ironing. I think somehow there's a lateral leap to the crinkly nature of Shane Warne's face, or lack of crinkles on Shane Warne's face.
Yes, that sometimes happens when we get a little bit behind.
So I think I know where Gautam's coming from there. Abhishek Chopra says, all the best, Knuckle.
He's a politician now, isn't he? Gautam Gambhir? Quite an unpopular one, from what I see.
Toby Chad has located the play button
Hey!
on whatever device he was using. Well done, Toby.
It's a victory. It's a victory.
Messi. Oh, wait.
Rabada wide this time. He's getting a bit fired up, I think, Rabada, but that was a little bit wild, wasn't it? And he dragged it down well wide of the off stump. He's getting a little bit frustrated. He's gone for a few runs, but he also hasn't picked up a wicket yet. Touch wood as an England fan.
Messi Jazz says, it must be said that Hitlers... I'll tell you why I got my words muddled there. Hang on. I've completely lost the page now. You might have to wait for that thought.
All right, well, we can handle that.
I've got it. Sorry. Hendo's kung fu attempt actually looks much more like a salute to Hitler.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought it was like one
whilst doing a silly walk at the same time.
I thought it was one of the Scousers from Harry Enfield. In comes Rabada again, and wow, that's taken off, but it's quite wide, and Denley doesn't need to be troubled by those, and he doesn't go anywhere near it.
I'm trying to remember Denley getting out in a recent test where
he tried to leave it and it flicked the underside.
Can you remember? I think it was at an Ashes match.
I think it might have been. Was it when he got his 90 odd?
Yeah.
Or was it just before that?
Was that at that was at the Oval?
That was the Oval, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we've seen it before. When I mean, it's not a criticism of Denley. Any batsman could get out that way.
Absolutely.
If you just one rises and you try and get your gloves out of the way.
And there it is again. But it's too wide at the moment from Rabada, and so Denley is, being very patient and just not trying to go after any of those. Denley is on to 20. Burns has 77. The score is 131 for 1.
Where the help we're all giving to Toby, who is now successfully located his player. Linux Leo says, just to complete the confusion, the player is in the top right of your mobile browser if you choose to display the desktop version of the site.
Ooh.
Well, that would confuse.
Rabada again, that's straighter, but turned neatly by Denley. It's only going to be one, as the man from mid-on runs round to his right. So for the first time this morning, the batsmen swap ends. That means Burns will face up to Rabada's final ball for the first time.
I think people often talk about the importance of rotating the strike, and but I think bowlers will Rabada will find it hard. Surely not when you've chugged away at the same batsman for 3-4 overs and you haven't been able to get him out. That can be very dispiriting, I think, to a bowler. And then all of a sudden, now he's got. Okay, maybe he will welcome the fact at this stage that he's got.
Burns to bowl at the left side. But but as you say, he's kind of got to adjust his line slightly, hasn't he? So, yeah, I mean, it could go either way. I mean, Burns has got to get used to him again. We've got 2 slips to gully. A man's gone back at quite a square third man. There's a man of very shortish cover, a mid-off, a short leg, a wide mid-on, and the man at long leg looks like he's trotting round to, well, almost to a deep backward square, somewhere between the two. Here is Rabada, then to Burns for the first time, and Burns, oh, and that was almost a wonderful bit of fielding, and in bizarre circumstances, Burns is going to get his first run of the day, and I'll tell you what happened there. He flicked it to short leg. He thought he did it well enough to get it past him and set off for the run. The man fielding there, who I think is Hamza, was very quick to react. He threw at the stumps, and Burns would have been dead.
He'd have been gone by a
He'd
mile,
have been
wouldn't
gone. But as it was, it missed, and there was no one at cover point to stop it. It required the fielder at third man to come round, and in that way, it's not Hamza, is it?
It's Rudy
at all.
second.
It's Rudy second, of course. In that sense, he was able to get set off for that single
Who
and
looks-
pinch the strike.
Does he look a lot like a more heavily bearded Nathan Lyon to you when he takes
He
the
does,
helmet
doesn't he?
off? Yeah.
Yes, he's like a thicker set Nathan Lyon. But good work from him. He will feel a bit unlucky there, but although that said, you would have said that that Burns would have been unlucky to get out that way. Anyway, he has finally got a run, and he will be back facing Philander. Philander was probably thinking, oh, it'd be nice to have a go at Joe Denley, but he's got Burns back there. 2 slips of gully, ring of 3 on the offside, mid-on, mid-wicket, long leg. He's in, bowls. That seemed like a very gentle delivery, but Burns still restrained from himself for going after it. It was 119. It wasn't a disguised slower ball, though, was it? It was just a sort of 74-mile-an-hour piece of nonsense.
And I think the England batsmen, I think these 2 particular England batsmen are very calm characters now. Maybe someone like Sibley, who was getting bogged down against Maharaj, looked to force it, looked to sort of, find a single, find a run somewhere. I don't think these 2 are bothered. They're just looking to put overs into the legs of these 2 premier bowlers, certainly the ageing Philander and the slightly frustrated Rabada. And like I say, Burns won't mind it in any way, soaking up all this Philander, making him, posing enough challenges to Philander as Philander's giving back.
Here he comes into Burns, and Burns leaves again, the ball angled across him. I think maybe I'm going back and thinking of more like an old-fashioned opening batsman. I think an old-fashioned opening batsman, or maybe a Cook and Atherton, a Boycott if you want to go back that far, they don't worry about runs, really. I mean, they just love occupying they love being out there and being involved. And if they're actually, unless they're chasing a big target, or a target that they've got limited time to get to, I think they just like absorbing the pressure a little bit. That, I guess, has gone out of fashion a little bit, but
I just think the longer you're in, the easier it is to bat.
Absolutely.
And it's not sweltering conditions for these batsmen.
Totally right. Foolish again, but wide of the off stump. And I just wonder whether Philander would be better served just bowling straighter. I mean, he normally does bowl very straight, and at the moment he just seems to be pushing everything across or outside off stump. If he just tightened that line and just made Burns play every time rather than leaving, he might get a little bit more joy. He's always got the chance of an LBW if he gets his flick off the legs wrong.
You could maybe leave a gap at mid-wicket. You could ask Burns to, try and work me through mid-wicket, and and I'll try and hit your front pad.
Yeah, exactly.
Ali Hamza says hi on Crick Tracker. Hello to you.
Indeed. And in he comes again. This time it runs off a very thick outside edge. Well controlled shot. There is Hamza at gully. presumably not the one that's just tweeted us. But there's an idea, with
Get players to tweet us.
tweet us while, yeah.
Well, you can be mic'd up on air, can't you?
Exactly, so why not tweet us?
I'm sure you can
Precisely,
knock
I
out a
think
quick
it's
tweet.
Yeah.
I'd say get Nasser Hussain back out there, the commentator on the pitch. I enjoyed that.
I love that.
Weird,
I thought that was
weird.
one of the most hilarious things I've seen at cricket. Now, that is an innovation that I would go for. Sod your 100 and your God knows how many balls per over. But seeing Nasser, especially Nasser, there's something about Nasser looking so sort of glum in that position. Defended back to the bowler this time by Burns. There is no run.
Yeah, in fact, Nasser, who's often known as...
There is a man. A certain man.
He is a bit.
A man whose grace and handsome face are known across the land. You know his name.
Nasser
It's Mr.
Hussain.
Burns. He loves a smoke, enjoys a joke. Why?
Well, it's either that, or it does have a passing resemblance, doesn't he, to Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, if you were to give him a bit less hair.
I think also that maybe Nasser's a bit more ruthless. Possibly.
He'd put his finger on that red button.
Yes, indeed. Here is Philander in again to Burns. That was straighter, but this time he likes it and flicks it away off his hip down to Maharaj, and picks up a single off the final ball of the over. So he's pinched the strike twice in a row. 50 overs have been bowled, and England are 134 for 1.
Yeah, great. Abhishek Chopra says, even Joe Denley's shirt sleeves have been mauled by a pair of scissors. Is it a superstition, you reckon? Good question, but I don't know. Well played, Leah, says Abhishek as well. That's in response to the finding the play button. Kiwi Callie, good luck with the meet and greet, she says to Knackle. Yeah, we'll be thinking of you there, Knackle. Grits and Grats says there's no reason you couldn't be in a Star Wars film. Stick a couple of shiny droids in the background and bring in the Wookiee slash bear, and you have the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. There we go. We have that in our green screen. That would be quite good. Done.
How are we doing for time, by the way, chaps?
You've done about 40 minutes.
Have I really? I'll do this last over, and then we'll have a
It's all
swap
gone fairly
round.
quickly because of the pre-match stress.
Indeed. Rabada then to Burns. Is this for the first time? No, he's faced one ball, hasn't he? And he's flicked him away through mid-wicket. Suddenly the runs beginning to flow for Rory Burns. Well, flow, not exactly, but he's got a couple there. England bring the target down to 240 more. 136 for 1. This is an interesting stat. England have played at 40% of the balls this morning, and they've left alone 42%. So what's happened to the other 18%? Explain that to me. If they played at 40% and left 42% alone, what does that make? That makes no sense.
That leaves
it makes no sense.
18%
Exactly.
unaccounted for.
The unaccounted deliveries. Where are those deliveries? This is back of a length and defended to mid-on by Burns.
Not that many plays and misses, are there?
Well, even that would still be a played, wouldn't it?
It would. How very strange.
I was thinking perhaps it includes those big bouncers that you couldn't actually play at,
I
but that's still
suppose.
they're still being left.
Left alone, yeah.
Unplayables.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't actually been... Well, no, it'd still be play and miss, wouldn't it? So he'd still be playing at them. It makes no sense, Sky. Explain yourself. Rabada has the ball back in his hand, and he starts his run up again. And he's into Burns, and Burns is in behind this one and defends. It is a Rudy second, making the jog alongside the onside of the pitch to do the fielding.
Messi Jazz sends us an interesting fact from CricViz. Joe Denley has never been dismissed.
Yeah, I keep doing that on
Joe
that.
Denley has never been dismissed pulling or hooking in Test cricket. In first-class cricket, Denley averages 68.42 from the pull and hook shots.
I don't know how... is every ball being watched that closely? That's right up there, full, almost a Yorker, but it ends up being a very low full toss, which Burns does well with. Gets it within a couple of feet of the boundary out at mid-wicket, as eventually it's fielded by... Is it Nokia out there?
There's Pretorius.
Pretorius, running all the way around from long leg. They've got back for 3. Burns moves to 84.
But Philander, who had to chase the 2 at the beginning of the over, had to chase that one too very reluctantly from wide mid-on. And
He's
again,
not...
he's after bowling 5 overs this morning and having to do,
I've said before, he's not a big fan of fielding.
No.
Not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of his fielding, and he's not a big fan of fielding at all. 47 runs this partnership now worth from 136 balls. Denley has faced quite a bit of Rabada this morning, but gets up there to face him again. And here he is. Wide of the off stump, too wide again. And he kind of knows that. He's just not quite in rhythm, perhaps, this morning. Getting his line wrong. I think the line has not been right at all. I mean, we were quite critical of England, weren't we, bowling too short? But I'd have to say that South Africa this morning, their two leading men, as it were, have not been really on the mark. Haven't made England play enough. And you know that if England have to play, they usually find a way of getting out. 139 for one. Target is 376. For some reason, Ravada is back at the end of his mark, but he doesn't have the ball. He's waiting for it to eventually be thrown to him, and it is. Final ball of his 14th over. What can he do here? As he's in, bowls to Denley, and Denley's in behind that one, just outside the offside. That was a better delivery. Turned him round ever so slightly. But it's pushed into the covers. That is the end of the over. It's time for a change. Should we play a jingle, and then Tony can...
I can do that.
Tony can move into the middle lane. And... do you want to go to tweets, or are you happy there?
No, I'll switch over to tweets.
Okay, you switch over to tweets. I'll shift sideways, but we should play ourselves a little jingle while we do it.
Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Guerrilla Crickets.
We welcome Tony the Bish for his first outing of the Test match in the ball-by-ball chair. It might take him some time to get the headphones on. And we have already a change in the bowling. I shall jingle up the new bowler. It be this man.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was buying meat. It's Henrik Nokia.
It is indeed. It's Alan Nokia, 0 for 20 so far. Off 6 overs he's bowled. England made a pretty steady start here. Certainly not spectacular. Ooh. And that one climbs at Rory Burns, who just kind of dropped his bat and let it kind of brush his chest and head on its way through to Quentin de Kock. Yeah, he dropped the arms there, didn't he, and sort of watched it through.
Yeah, I mean, this is a different challenge for Rory Burns because, as we were saying, it's been very skiddy and quite low from Philander, most of the bowling that he's faced this morning, and then suddenly he's got the 90-mile-an-hour Henrik Nokia.
Well, he's bowling from the pavilion end here at Centurion. Fortress Centurion for South Africa, of course. 2 slips. And he's that full by Burns. That's gone straight up in the air and is taken as comfortably as you like. And Rory Burns has gone for 84. And he will regret that. Just climbed on him quicker, didn't it?
Silly shot, really. Yeah, I don't understand that shot at all. I mean, you know, he hasn't faced any bowling that's got up around shoulder, throat height today. And that's only the second ball, really, that he has faced like that. The first ball he's got out of the way of. That one he's been drawn into the pool. I mean, this is what you have to say about England. They've shown such patience this morning, and then a shot like that. It's extraordinary.
What a start for Nokia. What we decided how we do
Nokia, I think.
Nokia.
Simplest of catches for a Rabada.
Well, it was. He had the broadest smile on his face for an awfully long time because that's how long the ball was in the air. Burns, well, he really was. It was almost as if he was giving catching practice because he didn't roll the wrists at all, and he just seemed to get himself in a hopeless tangle, playing a shot he probably didn't need to play, and. Sadly for England, happily of course for South Africa, the second wicket has gone down. Of course, the highest run chase at Centurion, 251 for 8, which I think was 99 2000 by England.
Yeah, well, you know what that was. That was the Cronny
was it, by Jove?
Indeed so.
Well,
Indeed
there
so.
you go.
So that has a bit of a
That has a
question mark hanging over it, doesn't it?
Indeed it does.
Do you think we're going to see this man?
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pict, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that.
Well, it is him.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
He looks like he's got a bit more colour than he had yesterday.
Well, there was a bit of a question mark, as to who on earth was going to, get up out of their bed and turn up for this. And Joe Root was one of the question marks, wasn't he?
He is Lazarus.
He is Lazarus. 89 matches he's played, 163 innings, averages 48.42. That's dropped quite a bit since, of course, he became captain. But that recent double century will have him standing in, feeling more confident, I would say. In comes Nokia, and a big shout for LBW.
Surely too high.
But, we think too high, and possibly also going down leg. Faf du Plessis having a little chat with his fielders, but I think that's more in the nature of encouragement rather than a decision on whether to be reviewed. So two reviews left for each team. Did I just sense not Fred's presence to my left? Yes, I did. He's slid seamlessly, silently into the tweet chair. So Joe Root just faced the one ball, and he is perkier this morning, I think, which is a encouraging sign for England. That target of 376 is just got that bit further away, hasn't it, with the loss of that wicket?
Yeah, I mean, I have to bite my tongue really, because I'm very annoyed with Rory Burns. I just don't understand what's going on in his head, having played so patiently this morning.
It was extraordinary. In comes Notia, and forward comes Joe Root, just pushes that back to the bowler. 144 kilometres an hour, nearly 90 miles an hour, I think.
Yeah, well, what you can say about Root, I mean, he was coming off that double 100 in New Zealand.
Yeah.
He got himself out in ridiculous fashion in the first innings when England were going along quite well. And that didn't begin the collapse, because that really began when it was 142 for 3, didn't it? Or was it... no, it was him. It was him, wasn't it? So
well, he looks a study in concentration as he's about to face Notia. Ooh, well, that kept low, and Root just was... rooted to the spot. And the ball seemed to go under his back, quite comfortably wide enough of off stump. But Notia, yeah, that did keep a little bit low, and he sort of had a little jab at it, and Quentin de Kock took it down by his ankles. It really did die in the pitch, that one. So we are seeing some variable bounce.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so annoying to have lost Rory Burns in that way, because you are probably going to get balls that can potentially get you out. You don't really need to be
don't want to be
anything.
giving yourself away, do you?
No.
Indeed you don't. As Notia's in, and does a big slash at that by Root, and the ball moved away from him. That was injudicious, I think, in the extreme by Root. He's got away with it, but in the circumstances in which England find themselves, there was no foot movement. It was just a waft, wasn't it?
I think it was
everything you blame England for so often.
Yeah, well, exactly.
In a nutshell.
He could quite easily have got an edge through to that, and then everyone will be saying, what the heck is he doing? End of the over, I think.
It is the end of the over.
We're not getting tweets in a minute, because
Roger appears to be having some technical difficulties. Wouldn't be the first time this morning. 237 is that target. We said the 251 the record, but record run chase, but shrouded in a degree of what would be the right word? Potential for nefarious goings on. As Philander's in. Rabada, beg his pardon, is in once more. And Joe Denley, who's looked pretty solid, 21 from 65. He touching wood, that's Hendo tapping away like a crazed woodpecker.
Crazed woodpecker, yes.
Were we just having another look at that ball? Oh, really, what was in his head? He smacks his bat on the ground as he walks off to Rory Burns. He just knew what it was, what a poor shot it was.
Oh!
And this is pulled by Denley, and it's gone all the way over long leg.
Extraordinary.
For another 6. That's his second of the morning as well, isn't it? He loves that pull or hook shot.
Well, I was worried when that went up, but it's pretty gone. It's gone.
Well, Kagiso Rabada has his hands on his head.
And Nokia down there as well. He's just down there.
He's doing a double teapot.
What on earth has happened there? I mean, it's like nobody knows where the ball went.
I don't think it went that far back. We'll have another look, actually. So it wasn't even that short, to be fair. It was a bit short. Denley was onto it like a flash.
Oh.
And there's a big Aston Villa flag, so 3-0 is all I can say to you.
Right.
Aston Villa flag. But it did literally drop just behind Nokia, didn't it?
Well, he lost it, didn't he, completely? And there are some people sitting behind him. They lost it as well.
Yeah.
And that may be what saved Denley. I don't know.
Rabada's in, and this one is Fuller. And on the off stump of Denley, and he's no more of that hooking nonsense that requires a classical defence, which it duly got.
You know, the fact is that Denley played one really good pull shot for 6, which he was totally in control of a little bit earlier. But he's just seen Rory Burns get out to a similar sort of shot, and he still played it. And this is the inexplicable
Perhaps he thinks he's indestructible with that shot. Having read the CricViz stats, that one is short. And Denley, as if listening to Hendo, thinks, well, I'm not going to attempt to pull the hook shot at that. And he ducks underneath it, and it is through to Quintin de Kock. Rabada has the look of an aggrieved man on his face, and I think he just found an extra couple of miles an hour to drop that one in short, didn't he? He wouldn't take kindly to being pulled, certainly not when he thought he might get a wicket out of it, and no one seemed to know where the ball had gone. Suggests a shot that the batsman wasn't fully in control of. 145 for 2. That second wicket, of course, just fell, was Burns, and forward comes Joe Denley, just pushes this to mid-on, and there's no run.
Yeah, what I want to say about this is sort of still ranting about the inexplicable nature of England's play, is that having shown this incredible patience, Rory Burns has then got out to an ill-advised pull. Joe Root could have been out in the first over playing a shot at a ball wide of off stump, and then Joe Denley could have been out playing that shot. So suddenly we could have lost 3 wickets. We're lucky that we've only lost 1.
Well, indeed. Rabada in full and met squarely and solidly in defence by Denley.
I don't mind Denley playing that shot. I mean, Denley's been facing Rabada all morning, has the measure of him, and has already pulled him once for 6. And we've seen it's a strong shot for him. If he backs himself to take it on,
but I mean, I don't know.
I see where you're coming from also, but it's a different matter to the Burns one, who was facing a brand new bowler and hadn't.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, I take that point totally. But as we saw, he wasn't in control of that one, particularly. I don't think it didn't go quite where he was intending. A little bit top edgy, and I just think this is what's the problem has been with England, is that they've lost clusters of wickets, haven't they, in various points in Test matches over the last year or two. And
well, we've certainly been down this road before. We're sitting here with a big old chase, wondering if.
Well, we could be sitting here saying England are suddenly 145 for 4. As it is, they're still 145 for 2.
Yep.
We're well behind on the
true.
tweets. Thank you for your patience with little technological issues, which has been sorted by our friend Fred. Cricket Blitherment. If you're still listening to our blithering, I'll get to you in a sec.
Nortje is in, and this is just pushed away to Dean Elgar, who is stationed there at square leg. By Joe Root, he's yet to get off the mark. 5 balls he's faced.
Cricket Blitherment is asking me where I'm playing my double bass these days. Well, that's kind of you to ask.
Somewhere between the legs is tradition.
Yeah. I'll be in Gateshead for New Year's concert in the Sage Gateshead.
Go and see Wendy Smith. Go and see
Wendy
Smith.
Yeah, your favourite. Gitson Gratz says we've all got Princess Leia buns, the headphones.
2 slips and a gully. A weight as Notches in, kept low again. Quite full though, and Root dabs it to that man at gully.
She's very good.
There's no run.
Very good cricketer, Anna Gully.
Anna Gully.
And this one's a touch out of date from Abhishek, but he says wish Faf had more trust in Keshav. Could have opened with him today, or could introduce him into the attack now, given Rabada, Philander have been meh today. Well, the bowling change did work, but it was Nokia, not the spinner.
The Super Sport Park is, in the last 10 years, the least successful ground for spin bowlers, which of course is what persuaded England to go with a full-on seam attack.
So I thought Maharaj bowled pretty well last night.
Those 2 slips go down. Nokia's in. Notcha. and Root dabs this away to that man again, which I think is Dean Elgar, isn't it?
Yep.
Nestle Boy sends us a lovely photo of a sunrise, just saying morning. He was in a cave yesterday.
Some people say you should always.
Nestle Boy was in a cave.
Yeah. Tweeting from a cave.
Tweeting from a cave. Well, not the Bears cave, was it?
No, Spanish cave.
Spanish cave.
Linux Lee, if talking about boycott, if anything he loves in the world is batting with glacial pace while the team's under pressure from the clock and needs to make runs fast. Well, England have got all the time they want to make these runs.
Well, they do. Joe Root ducks underneath this. De Kock takes it, fingers skyward above his shoulder. Sure, it's not a carve, as in a cellar. That would be more like.
No, he sent us.
He's genuinely a cave.
Yeah, photographic evidence.
Okay.
Mahit goal says thoughts on De Kock coming up to 4. Well, it's a bit moot, Mahit goal in this, but nice to hear from you anyway. We can come back to that at a certain point. Phil Salt, 52 not out in the BBL from Messi Jez, tells us. Old Sussex Salty. And yeah, we'll get through the rest of them soon enough. That's
okay. Fine. 145 for 2. Is in again, and onto his toes goes Root, and he guides this beautifully through third man where there isn't a third man, and gets himself 4 runs.
There's not one more for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
The reason they got that is I don't really like that the one I played originally. I keep forgetting which one it is, and so
a lot to admire in that shot from Root. Control, placement, awareness of the field. Very tidy way to get off the mark. Enjoyed that very much.
Got the third man in now.
Well, yes, rather after the stable door, as the horse has bolted, and Root just defends this back to the bowler.
Linux Lee says this is the innings that will secure the England captaincy for Denley.
I love Denley.
I'm sure of it.
Denley.
Okay, we've got a drinks break.
He's doing all right. Yeah, you can catch up on a few. Shall we give you a free run there, Rog?
Yeah, and then Messi, New Jazz. There may not be too many chances for Watford fans to gloat. So make
well,
the
this
best
is very true.
every opportunity.
Well, it's only because I saw the Aston Villa flag. I'm sorry, but you're absolutely right. There won't be.
Were you there yesterday?
No, I was travelling back.
Traveling,
I was veering off the motorway when the third goal went in.
Oh right, God,
in excitement.
Good. Yes.
Sachin at Sachin CG6. Hello, Sachin. Asks who is the best 4th innings batsman that you have ever seen. Well, I'm going to say Yunus Khan. I've always been a huge Yunus Khan fan, and he has many 4th innings records, doesn't he? I think the most hundreds. I'll say him.
It's funny that's kind of stat or a sort of an observation that has escaped me, really.
Yeah, I was trying to think what would my answer be.
Joe Denley.
Who do you want to see guiding your team home? Joe Denley.
Joe Denley.
Joe Denley. Certainly if you're Lennox Leo, although that may not be the best she's ever seen. So it's Chris Rogers. If Middlesex were chasing, I'd always have faith in Chris Rogers.
Ah, right, okay, that's a good one.
Just because he was so sticky. If you knew you needed to get a total, he'd invariably build you a platform to go from.
He got that double 100 when they chased 460 or something
against Yorkshire. Yes,
he
absolutely did.
Is that the game that Joe Root captained?
Yeah,
it was. It was his Joe Root's first ever game of captaincy.
Yeah.
Yes, in hindsight, that was. That puts it into context perhaps
I suppose
a little bit.
For that, you'd look at you'd try and think of your most solid batsman, wouldn't you? I mean, I don't know the stats, but presumably Ralph Dravid's done pretty well in 4th innings, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, that's the thing is you can. It's a presumption he would have done well in the 4th innings because of the way that he played.
Yes, as I say,
not necessarily.
Stats,
You don't. Yeah, it was a really interesting question. Really interesting question.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin. And Cricket Blitherman is still listening. That's good.
Is this a friend of yours?
No,
right.
I don't know Cricket Blitherman. Their avatar is a picture of Elise Perry.
Ah.
It says just blithering about cricket. Name speaks for itself. Mainly to waffle at us.
Oh, good.
That's why the account is there, and it's they're apparently based in Antarctica, which I'll take with a pinch of salt.
Gracious me, but probably well, you never know.
I guess if you're in Antarctica for any length of time, you feel the need to blither. You probably get a bit
amongst
lonely.
other things, yeah.
But Cricket Blitherman.
I'm just gone out for a blither. I might be sometime.
Yes. Says we're keeping them company while You're keeping me company while I try and organise my iTunes library. That's a good Sunday activity.
God, and after that, you're onto your sock drawer. It's just life just doesn't get more exciting.
Oh, there's always ironing.
There's always the ironing because Hendo won't do it for you. We already know that. That and technology are not the Henderson fortes.
Mahet Gull is back at us saying Rory Burns' weakness found. Bouncers.
Well, is it? Not necessarily. I don't know. It was a brain fade, wasn't it? I mean, he batted with such incredible patience. You wonder whether perhaps, having picked off a few runs, that he suddenly had that desire to score. But I mean, it's only the second ball that he'd faced from Nokia that morning. It's the only second rising ball.
Yep. Well, anyway, 149 for 2. We are in the. We will post this drinks break start the 55th over. So that Kookaburra ball is at that point in its life where it tends to be stodgy, splodgy, and not very exciting. But we do have a change of bowling.
We do.
It is Dwayne Pretorius
for the first time.
The
today.
all-rounder.
It is. I'll try and find his jingle for you. Here it is.
Pretorius. Dwayne Pretorius.
He's bowling from that Hennops River end with 2 slips and hits his mark straight away. That enables Denley just to put a big front foot forward and play it with the full face of the bat. He's pretty nippy, isn't he, Pretorius?
No, I mean he was, and he's cut down his pace, looking more just outswing really, because he suffered a lot of injury problems.
Yeah.
Which is probably why he's got 29-30 before he's really got a test opportunity.
Yes, indeed. He's in, right arm over, and that one keeps pretty low. Denley shoulders arms and lets it through to Quentin de Kock. He is indeed, as you right. Well, he's 30 now, isn't he?
30, yeah.
Knocking on 31. This, of course, is his debut.
Yeah, and he was wearing a sort of something on his right hand yesterday, wasn't he, when he first came out to field? Obviously, he took it off to bowl, so he may have had some problem with that wrist or something.
In he comes again, and squarely met by Denley, pushed to Rabada at mid-on, who does a nifty little bit of footwork just to flick the ball up, catch it, and then throw it back to the bowler. He does have, let me see, his ODI figures. His best bowling in ODIs are 3 for 5, which is not at all bad. That was against New Zealand at Wellington, where he got rid of Ross Taylor, Santner, and Trent Bolt in 2017.
Trent Bolt.
Well, yeah. This one's pulled by Root, pulled through mid-wicket. It was slightly short, and Root was on it like a flash, and away it went. It was Denley, I beg your pardon, but he certainly dispatched it with great aplomb.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, well, he hasn't got the pace of Rabada. It's not going to get up as much, is it? He's played that a lot straighter, even though it's a pull shot.
He's seen the ball well, is Denley.
Yeah,
rolled the wrists on that beautifully. It's quite a long way down the track as well, wasn't he, Denley? Even though he played it off the back foot, he was there was a lot of space between the crease and him, so he'd come to meet Pretorius. This one, though, he waits for and just guides back to the bowler. Well, he had twin knee injuries, didn't he, Pretorius? That was his challenge.
Interesting point they make about him batting outside the crease, which was what he was doing last night. And then both to Philander and to Pretorius, I think it was, Quinton de Kock decided to come up to the stumps. And so Denley was forced back into his crease, so he didn't have that advantage that he enjoys of batting a little bit down the wicket.
Well, certainly that one, after having been pulled for that 4, I'll wait as Pretorius is in. Ooh, and that climbed a little bit, and Denley takes his hand off the bat. He's able to keep the ball down and guide it to square leg, but seemed to just leap on him. It wasn't up to his throat, was it? But it just seemed to come onto him just that little bit quicker than I think he was expecting.
Yeah, I think it jumped on him, and I think, South Africa will think to themselves, maybe we should have had a short leg, but just for that sort of incident. Where's that? It's come up right up to the glove, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and on the top hand as well, more or less.
Well, let's have a look. Would it have been snaffled by a short leg? It was short. Yes, it would. It would have been the most straightforward catch to a short leg you could ever hope for.
Yep, so I think perhaps they'll regret not being a little bit more attacking. If the odd ball is going to do that, and not everyone is, but if the odd one is going to do that, then it's surely worth having someone in there. And Faf du Plessis may regret being a little bit too defensive.
Well, that wicket still has plenty of tinges of green in it, quite noticeable cracks. They took a single, by the way, in all that excitement, and what could have been the catch to the invisible, non-existent short leg. Root waits for this, carves it away through point, and that will go all the way for 4. That was another super shot. Gorgeously timed by Root. Not much needed in the way of footwork, just rocked back, watched the ball played it right under his eyes, and steered it away through point. Shot of, well, you'd like to say a man in form, but he wasn't so much in form in the first innings.
Well, he was in form, and then he played a stupid shot. I think that's the thing. I mean, you can be in great form and get yourself out.
In comes Nocha. He's starting his 9th over, and played back to him by Root, and there is no run.
On the subject of 4th innings batsmen, Mayor Katie is with us. Who do you think her best one would be?
She's stats a woman of great ability.
What do we know about Mayor Katie? Our favourite English player.
Nick Compton?
No. He's at the ground.
He's at the ground.
Mark Nicholas?
No, well
that would be
nice shout out for him.
Yeah. This one's left through to go through to Quentin de Kock by Joe Root. Just ducked a little.
There were so many
see it harmlessly through.
So many ex-cricketers at the ground.
Well, there would be.
Gladstone?
Nah. The Brigadier.
The
Brigadier blocked himself.
Paul Collingwood.
Oh,
of course.
Says, look how many times he saved England. That's a good answer. Thank you, Katie. And you love him for many other qualities
he didn't
than that.
bloody save him at Adelaide, did he, in 2006? I mean, he may have got a double 100 in the first innings.
He didn't get to bat in the 4th innings.
Yes, he did.
No, he batted the 3rd innings.
Nokia turns at the top of his run, and Root guides this to point, and there's no run.
Abhishek says Chris Rogers was so good because he was colourblind, so didn't see the colour of fear.
Well, he was indeed colourblind, yes, you're quite right.
And Mahit Gul gives us a nice tech. If you could bring back a batsman to play after the next wicket falls, has to be English in this 4th innings situation.
I see.
I think he's asking us.
Paul Collingwood was not a bad shout.
He's a good shout. I think Stokes, he's just the man.
Yeah.
I think they've got
Stokes, yeah, because he's got both strings to his bow now. He can grind out defensively or suddenly launch into attack, can't he? This one's short by Nucci, and even Quentin de Kock, who's pretty sprightly, can't get a full glove on that. But I don't think they ran. No, they didn't.
No.
And it remains 157 for 2, 376.
And Lawrence Jameson,
rather distant target.
Lawrence Jameson gives us some stats on the highest 4th innings batting averages in tests. It is Yunus Khan with a minimum of 1,000 runs. Yunus Khan averaging 59.27. Boycott is next, and Gavaskar both over 58.
Right.
But Mogg says, I can tell you who I wouldn't want batting for me in the 4th innings. Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, fair
I guess
enough.
he's got. I think he. I seem to think he's got pretty poor numbers in that regard.
She's in again. This one low. It dies completely.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? That question, because are you making a point about someone who's good in the 4th innings because they're a good chaser, but they're not not necessarily good at setting up a position?
It also depends on the circumstances of the 4th innings.
Exactly.
I mean, is it a gritty defence or is it chasing down a total that you
Well, I
want
suppose
to
the
do?
argument is that the 4th innings, the pitch is at its worst, potentially, apart from if it's, really sort of sprightly on the first morning. So, that gives an idea of someone who is good under pressure.
Here comes knocking again from the pavilion end, and Root leaves that with a high lift of his bat. And it cut back in, and I would be very keen to see the replay because I don't think there was a huge amount of air between his off stump and that ball, to be honest.
Sharp intake of breath from me, for sure.
I think probably from Joe Root, who realised it was probably a well-judged leave. They're well-judged if your off-stump doesn't fold backwards.
Linux Leah wants a new captain. She says, I mean, Root clearly isn't captain material. Stokes doesn't want it.
We know what you're going to say.
Josh will never get it. Perstow clearly isn't suited for it, so they won't pick a bowler. So that leaves Denley. It also leaves Burns. Come on, you can't be that one-eyed.
Well, it's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Because actually Burns has been a captain. He's led a side to a county championship title.
True.
Denley, has he done much captaincy at all for Kent? Has he? Didn't ever captain Middlesex, did he?
No,
not even in a sort of stand-in capacity.
A lot of his time at Middlesex was certainly the first time round was with Neil Dexter, and Dexter was captain. And forward comes, is that Root this time?
No,
Denley, wasn't it? Denley, yeah, pushed away into the offside anyway, and there's no run. 158 for 2, the score. A couple of people on Quick Tracker. Are you with those, Rog, as well?
Yeah, Kunal, now that we've loaded back up again, Kunal Narang, who is winning? That's always a good question in cricket.
Well, I'd say South Africa are favourites still by quite a while, quite a bit. England aren't exactly bustling along here, as Pretorius is in, met with a high elbowed classical defence by Denley, and there's no run.
Naeem Butt says good. Denny Joyson says hi.
Not Denley Joyson.
No, Denny Joyson is the surname. Sunil Makwana. Jermaine Green. Was that a high jumper? No, Green. Jermaine Green.
I'd love it if
here's a good one.
The female unit. Anyway, Denley stands with back.
Trouble.
Big shout. And
gone.
Given.
Yeah.
It looked to me like that was smacking into middle and leg. And the umpire had absolutely no doubt at all. Root and Denley will have the obligatory conversation. 2 reviews remaining.
It's definitely going to be clipping, isn't it? I mean, that was just...
I think having been given, I would be surprised if they waste the review on that. They have reviewed it?
It was a very cool little motion from Denley.
My career, not that I believe that they'll save me, but it could be more iffy than it appears. Cause if I don't, then someone else might use it, get a second chance and go on to do very well and consign my career to hell. Cause that is them and this is me. I have a higher destiny. I think I'll use all reviews every game.
Well, that. We're seeing some ultrage, but I think...
no, there's no bat on that.
There was no bat on that. That was
it's
after
going to be clipping. It's going to be clipping.
Impact was in line.
Yeah.
Umpire's call, it was clipping the leg stump. And I'm afraid Joe Denley will probably rue that, because he was trying to flick the ball across the line. And whilst you've got to put runs on the board, if you play across the line, you are to a certain extent asking for some trouble. And sadly, he's gone.
After you've gone.
Yeah, it only has to move a little bit, doesn't it? And just did to come inside his bat. And yeah, it's one of those awkward ones. It's clipping. It's, as a batsman, I think we feel those and you think, oh, that's going down the leg side, isn't it? Possibly.
As a batsman, yes. I mean,
you feel if there's any movement and you hit on the pads as you're sort of and you're thinking about turning the ball into the onside. As a batsman, I think you think, oh, that's probably missing leg, and quite often it's proving not to be missing
leg. The view we had, I think the three of us immediately went, that's out.
Yeah, or it certainly knew he was in trouble. Put it that way.
Yeah. It never seemed to move enough to look like it might miss that.
No.
So I was actually surprised that it was only clipping. I mean, the first time I saw it, that looked like it was thudding into the heart of leg stump, and I actually had originally sort of judged it as more sort of middle and leg. So perhaps it moved just that a little bit more. It was the movement. It definitely.
Yeah.
Although it was slanted across him by Pretorius, Denley was looking to flick it away to leg, and it just moved quicker than he flicked the bat, really, didn't it? It was just, in a way, he was beaten for just that little bit of extra movement off the pitch that did for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So England
suddenly
with 3 wickets down.
It's all happening.
Ben Stokes MBE, am I right? No?
You are right, yes.
There we are. Ben Stokes MBE is our man at the crease.
Well, I'm just going to look for his other jingle because
Best of 258, of course.
I'm a bit fed up with the other one. Sorry, Mog. I'm going to go looking for his other jingle, so you may have to wait for a little bit.
All right, okay. Well, so Joe Denley's gone. He was LBW to Pretorius. Pretorius is in again from the Hennops River end. And Stokes meets his first ball with great resolution and technique.
Okay, I'm hoping this is the one. And nothing happens.
And nothing happens. It's just not our morning for tech, Endo. Leaving you and me in charge of technology is, I don't know, the lunatics taking over the asylum. Is that a first? That's not his first wicket, is it? What did he do in the first innings?
No, it's not his first wicket.
He got Denley in the first innings.
He got Denley in the... Did he,
yeah,
by
yeah.
Jove? Well, Pretorius is in again. Stokes just drops the bat on that, pushes it to cover, and there is no run.
With a similar with an inducker that grabbed Denley's inside edge. So that's what Pretorius provides his use. He's economic, and he just.
Well, as we were saying, with
tails
his two dodgy knee situations, he's forsaken speed for accuracy. I think, didn't he actually say he uses Philander as his role model, as this one is wide of the off stump and left by Stokes and through to Decott. No run, so 1 for 16.
Right, I think we should have a change.
Pretorius.
Rog move into the middle, and I'm going to take a break. You can come here, Tony, and I'll go and get not Fred, if he's not actually bothering to listen to us out there.
He'll come on the tweets. Cricket Blitherman asking me if I seen a video of 2-set violin trying to learn the double bass in 1 hour. I have. And 2-set. If you want to check out 2-set violin, there are a couple of violinists in an orchestra in Australia, and they do lots of good comedy stuff that can be enjoyed by musicians and non-musicians alike.
Well, I will just keep rabbiting until Roger's taken the assigned middle chair. Root is on 8. Stokes yet to get off the mark. 158 for 3. We welcome not Fred into the room, and it's going to be Nokia to bowl first ball of a new over to Joe Root. And Joe Root drives quite nicely up to mid-off, scampering round Rabada to field. I don't think they got a run. They didn't. It's over to you, Rog.
Thanks, Nigel. Hello, not Fred.
Hello.
And hello, Anthony Bishop. Did anyone ever call you Anthony? Sorry, you don't have a mic in your hand. That's not fair. Anyway, I'll take you through to lunch. I'm Rog at Rog Pineapple, and the last 20 minutes or so have been. The game has got back.
The answer to that one, Rog, was I'll tell you in a moment.
Oh, Nokia to Root, turning him into the onside, but there's a man stationed there, backward square leg. It's second. And he's clapping his hands because he's kept Root on strike, and Nokia will want a 6 at the England skipper.
The answer was my mother used to when I misbehaved.
Well, that's why I'll keep
Which
that
was
up.
often.
I'm going to keep that up my sleeve.
Now, Anthony.
But your stage name is Tony, isn't it?
My film name, yes. Tony Bishop XXX.
Your equity.
Yes.
Equity card.
Heinrich Nokia with a bumper that Root ducks under pretty easily enough. Now, not Frederick. Talk to us. Any other Fredericks?
Freddie Flintoff has joined us. I'm not sure if it's that Freddie Flintoff. He says, not much to do tonight whilst backpacking at the Franz Josef Glacier. Absolutely magnificent hike today. Now chilling listening to you after cooking my chicken schnitty and Jim Beam.
Chilling at a glacier?
Which I got from the airport to save alcohol costs. Silvery Beams is recommending somebody else to listen to us. And Elixir of Azazel says, is Fechlohuayo injured? He's much better than Pretorius and should have played.
Yes, he's out for the series, I think.
Nokia is up to the crease, bowling quickly, and Root jabs down on this just in time. He gets an inside edge out to that man's second, but that was 91 miles an hour. He had to be into his forward defence smartly.
Abhishek Chopra's smelling a conspiracy. He says, yeah, give Keshav the ball when the match has moved too far ahead and then diss him for not creating any impact. Yeah, right, faff.
A lot of A lot of good backseat captains out on the Twitter.
And
But I think a lot of these were before the Pretorius wicket, so that changes everyone's perspective.
yes, hindsight is a wonderful thing. John Lose, I think referring to the fourth innings batsman, says Jack Leach. How could we forget Jack Leach?
Okay, and again, he's built a good pace and a good bouncer. Well played by Root in front of his face. Just keeps it down safely, but he's getting in line, and he's up to this pacey challenge. But he's been around 90 miles an hour this whole Test match.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, he really is a
Yeah, he looks a handful.
genuine speedster. He's a strong boy, and he buoyed with that wicket with just his second ball, was it, since he entered proceedings. Got rid of the obdurate Burns. And
Well, Burns contributed to his
Yeah,
own downfall, but
well,
the ball did come onto him
quick bouncer can,
quicker than he was ready to play it, for sure.
There's a forward square leg and backward square leg, and Root gets one on the. He gives it the chainsaw. Got him on the bottom glove from just back of a length, but seriously quick. And Nokies gives him the full-on mean South African strong stare.
That was an old-fashioned look, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
wasn't
What
it?
Gary would call an old-fashioned look.
Behind from the tweets, I'm blaming the last person who was here. Mahit Goel says, where do you think England will end up in the table?
Fourth.
And Dr. Lehoni Hicks says, would you believe that having got the boiler fixed, we're now in a different place with a different boiler, with a broken boiler? Thank you for the commentary.
Oh Lord, that's a pleasure.
Keep knitting, Leonie Hicks. You'll get.
The world
we'll get
needs more cricket jumper tea cozies.
True. We're nearly in spring.
Messengers has sent us a quiz.
Oh, good. I like.
Should we do a quiz?
Yeah, I like a quiz.
Okay.
Root might be getting a magic spray out. He had to remove his glove.
He did.
Just testing that bottom hand.
I like your give it the chainsaw. That's a lovely description. 'Cause
Yeah.
You can immediately see there's someone with that.
Yeah, I don't know
pulling
who
their
came
arm
up with that. I think it's a fairly commonly used one among cricketers, but Pretorius is continuing over the wicket to Stokes, who's still on knot and happy to defend it in this crease.
The quiz is, I haven't got the answers, so I'm as much in the dark as the rest of you. How many bowlers does
That's how
each...
quizzes work.
Well, but you have a quiz master, where generally...
Well, that'll be
who's-
Mary Messi Jasmine, or I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll come back with
He's
it.
a happy new Messi
He
or
never
something this
doesn't
morning.
miss a second of our commentary.
7 minutes ago, so I hope he's still listening. How many
course he
bowlers
is.
does each country have in the ICC top 20 ranked test bowlers?
Ireland, none. Afghanistan, none. No.
Yeah, probably.
Pretorius on a leg, defended by Stokes. Bangladesh, none.
Australia 4, 5.
New
Be
Zealand,
surprised if their whole attack's in there.
3. England, 2.
Really?
Well, Anderson, it's still
Well,
the-
would he be? I mean, he's had to be
Yeah,
out for a long time.
dunno,
That doesn't help.
Yeah.
This is tests we're talking about, isn't it? Yeah, obviously it is for the ICC rankings, yes.
India, 5. Pretorius, full of length, and Stokes defends immaculately into the covers. I'd say Bumrah, Shami, Ashwin, Jadeja, and maybe just 4. Pakistan will have.
I can put us out of our misery because I've
That's quite enjoyable.
Googled it.
well, basically yes.
Oh, that's another way of playing quizzes, I suppose.
Yes, it's rather
That's the
cheating.
modern
isn't it?
way.
Yeah.
But I won't. I'll just tell you if you're correct on some of your assumptions, though. That Roger.
Right, well, I was sort of throwing out
Something's bound to be
ballpark
correct
figures.
out of all
Yeah.
that.
Anyway, Stokes gets a thick edge. A safe one in defence to backward point. And then we're on.
I won't give the game away, but all of your assumptions about countries who don't have players in there were correct.
Yes!
Although if you go down to 24 and 25,
Rashid Khan.
you do have a couple who are in there.
Rashid Khan and
No, wrong country.
Paul
in fact.
Sterling. Tim Murder.
Wrong country again.
Well,
It was one of the countries you mentioned.
Mahedi.
24 and 25.
Mahedi, is he still
Yes,
going?
indeed.
He was giving it a biff in
Yes.
the BPL yesterday, which was exciting. Stokes stretches fully forward and defends out to point again. 5 dots so far from Pretorius.
This is good if it's true, but it's from Andrew Miller, friend of Guerrilla Cricket, so I'm assuming that it's true. He says, Headingley 2019, Stokes replaces Denley at 141 for 3, needing 218 to win.
Wow.
He's looking for patterns. Is Miller.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Leach isn't playing.
Pretorius wide of off stump, left alone. A maiden, 158 for 3. England are 18 short of the second miracle of 2019.
There was less time in the game, wasn't there? When Headingley.
He came in on the. No, it was all done on the fourth. Yeah, so
wow, so it's all
Stokesy came in on the third evening. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And they had all of
Lightning. Does it strike twice?
In 2 different places.
Nestle Boy, this is a disturbing tweet. He says, I had a dream about guerrilla cricket last night. I managed to get KP on as a mystery guest. But as he climbed the stairs, Hendo flew into a rage and a punch-up ensued.
I'm back in Hendo on that one.
KP was in full kit carrying a bat and was raining blows onto Hendo. The bear then kicked KP down the stairs.
Quite right.
That actually happened. That wasn't a dream.
That will happen.
You were here.
That will happen.
Well,
KP.
Hendo was in a rage when I arrived this morning.
Wonder who KP's supporting in this game.
Well, tricky one. I wasn't greeted with a good morning or how was your Christmas. I was greeted with a, do you want the bad news or the bad news?
Nokia is continuing to root. There's a short leg in place. This one was full and kept a bit low, and Root did really well to jab down on it. Heads and hands in the cordon because he was dead in front if he'd missed it. A good double bluff there, putting in the close catch on the leg side and then going full and straight.
Nortje reminds me of Donald, says Elixir of Azazel.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, he doesn't have the same sort of athletic leap to the crease, but
he's genuinely lively though.
Yeah, it certainly comes out at a similar pace. If not, well, yeah. White Lightning. Is he the second White Lightning? He's in again. This one's on a leg. Well played by Root. Just glides it down to third man. I'm sure he won't be too upset to be off strike. Stokes will face the challenge.
Does White Lightning strike twice?
Oh,
Does
very
White
good.
Lightning, very good. It's also not fluidity of run up, is it?
No,
With
yeah.
Nokia. It's all in the shoulder.
He's South African.
Really,
He's a fast bowler.
He really gives it a fling with his shoulder.
Abhishek Chopra says, actually referring to that Miller tweet, can't find the tweet where I read this, but Stokes has walked in with England needing 218 to win. Same as Headingley.
There we go.
Anna Forsyth says, I only have 10 minutes with you. But so glad to have heard about Joe Root's magic spray while I stopped by. Sorry to miss you yesterday, Bish.
I wasn't on yesterday, Anna.
She was.
Oh, but you were. Anna was what, here?
Yes.
Oh, then I'm gutted and distraught. That's awful.
She came.
Hopefully, though, at some point at Lord's during the summer, if you're taking in any Middlesex games, Anna, then hopefully finally we shall see you.
Regulation field for Stokes as Nokia bowls a regulation length, but wide of off stump and taken low down by de Kock.
The definitive answer from Messi Joes to the quiz. India have 5 in the top 20.
Said that.
Australia 4.
Said that.
West Indies 3.
Didn't say that, but I was about to.
I'm surprised you didn't have New Zealand. You should have said West Indies 20. 19 and Ireland 1. That's what you should have done, Raj. New Zealand 3.
Said that.
England 2.
Said that.
South Africa 2.
Didn't get around to saying that.
Pakistan 1.
And if you'll remember, I was just about to say that. So
I do remember that.
Yes. So give us a hard one next time, Jez. Honestly, bloody hell. Nokia over the wicket, well defended by Stokes.
I'll give you the top 5, shall I? I won't read all 20 out. Top of the charts at the moment is Pat Cummings. Rabada is second. Neil Wagner third. Jason Holder fourth. Mitchell Stark 5.
Really? I would have thought an Indian bowler would be in the top 5.
Well, there's a resurgence of Indian pace bowling, as Knackle will often remind us. Bumrah 6. I'm going to go 6 to 10 now as well. Bumrah 6, Hazelwood 7, Philander 8.
Okay, on the pads, and Stokes gets off the mark with a clip round to deep square leg for a single.
Jimmy Anderson 9, Tim Southey 10.
At Des 103-25431 says, have been swimming with turtles this morning, helped soothe the GPL fiasco of yesterday. Did we have a GPL fiasco?
Des was on it on the last over. He just needed a maiden, and then Burns was almost caught. You remember Burns' edge one just
I
out
didn't
of
see any of yesterday's
just
play.
out of the reach of Duplessis. And if he'd caught it, of course, then
That
Des
would've been
would
the
have.
end of play against the day. Yeah.
But it dribbled away for some runs, and
This
Des is
poor girl in the crowd has got ice cream all over her face except in her mouth.
wasted
Hey!
bouncer, which will give England some freebies.
It will be.
Way too wide outside off stump. De
Was
Kock.
it also wide? Was it?
I don't
wide?
think it was. No, it's the end of
Probably
the.
should have been. It was out of reach, I think.
Yeah, it certainly went further wide.
But it's also one of
Ball
these.
went through to the keeper. Somehow we let it through, straight through the keeper, went through the keeper, gone through the keeper, then through the keeper, it's through the keeper, straight through the keeper, went through the keeper.
Why do I say further wide? Well, the word is wider.
Wider than wide.
English is designed to.
It has so
save
many
me
ways
from
of
that.
saying similar things.
Yeah.
Aman Deep asked the question, and I'm going to throw it to Tony to answer.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Pretorius to Stokes, left alone.
What happened to Toby Rowland-Jones? Bowling average 19.65.
He had a stress fracture of his back, and it kept him out for over a season. And it happened just as you're right. He'd done very well, as you recall, in his first series against South Africa. And it was just a bad injury at the wrong time. And even the season out, it took him a good half of the next season to really discover his rhythm and form. So it was a terrible injury at the wrong time, frankly.
Again, left alone. Pretorius probing on a fifth stump line.
Thank you for that, and don't call me Franklin. The equivalent numbers for batsmen, as in the number of batsmen ranked in the top 10, sorry, the top 20 of the ICC rankings.
India.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 countries are represented.
Everyone 3 except Ireland, only 2.
This is what? Was this batting?
Yes. How
Top-
many do India have in the top 20?
Oh, too many. Pretorius to Stokes again, leaving it alone. Let's name them, shall we? Kohli.
Kohli's in there? Probably.
Kohli, Pujara, Rohit, Agarwal maybe. Has he got himself in there?
I don't know what the lag is with these rankings.
Rahul, I have him in my rankings. I can't remember if he's put up the numbers this year.
Well, 5 is the magic
5.
number.
Okay, yeah, 5. Solid 5.
How many do New Zealand have?
Ooh, well, you've got Captain Kane. You've got Tommy Latham, I'd imagine. Watling. Pretorius is driven on the onside by Stokes. Bit of a thick inside edge. He'll get a couple. They run well, and Nokia is a bit weary to get to that one.
According to this, New Zealand have 5.
Right, yeah. So Williamson, Taylor, Latham, Watling, and
Bolt.
and
In the top,
Jeremy,
are we talking the top
Jeremy
20?
Carney.
You said Watling and Latham, didn't you?
Yeah.
Henry Nichols.
Of course.
Oh, right.
Henry Nichols.
Australia have Steve
3.
Smith. Yeah, they do have Steve Smith.
Warner
I'm wondering if
and
Warner.
Marnus.
I mean, Warner's still averaging 50 for this year, even after averaging 10 in England.
Yeah. Good length ball and off stump, defended with respect by Stokes. Pretorius does his own fielding.
3 Australians in the top 20. England have 2.
Stokes and Root maybe clinging on. Is Root?
Oh yeah, Root was back in the top 10.
Yeah.
South Africa have 2.
Elgar and De Kock.
Handle. so I was thinking something completely different. Faf, possibly?
Yeah. Pretorius to Stokes. He's been very watchful, and he just defends one he might have driven in a different mood, but he's just faced 18 balls. He's on 3.
You got one of them.
England won 66 for 3.
You had one of them in the
Elgar.
top 20. Elgar is correct. I don't think you've said the second one. They're 18 and 19 respectively. Elgar being 19.
Oof, clinging on. They'll be gone by the end of the year. It's Bavuma? No? Is he in it?
No.
I don't know. Faf, De Kock.
Oh, sorry, you said.
I said De
yes,
Kock, yeah.
I missed you say De Kock. Okay.
Pakistan have 2. And Sri Lanka have 1.
Okay, so Pakistan's will be
Babar.
Babar and I can't immediately recall who's had a good year for Pakistan.
Who did that 100 against Ireland?
No one got a 100 against Ireland.
No.
Nokia. Oh, to Root,
Yeah.
and he's jackknifing out of this. He gets a bat handle to it backwards. He dropped his
Left his
bat.
bat.
Yeah, knocked the bat out of his hand. It went along the ground to backwards square leg. He's gonna ask for some
magic spray
medicine again, and that really caused him some discomfort. I think it's the left wrist. He's got a smile on his face, but again, it was quick bowling from Nokia, back of a length, and this 4th day pitch has got some spice in it, and that has hurt him.
Abhishek Chopra, everyone's a critic, says Rabada has ended that stupid broad enforcer phase of his career. Been piss poor in this test, everything short. Abhijato Sensama says a Sam Curran blitz to win this match alongside Ben Stokes is the only way to end the year for English cricket. In it. Hendo has replied to the bizarre dream of Nestle boy. He says, not surprising, KP would have taken one look at me, realised there was only room for one top-class batsman at Gorilla Towers, and unable to argue his case in the face of my shimmering brilliance, resorted to violence. That's one way of looking at it, I suppose. That is pretty much up to date.
Very good.
They're testing that wrist of Roots. They're testing it for its pushing it down and back. I noticed he wears a very small wrist protector, like a wristband that has a little bit of padding in it, which I don't think I've ever seen before. This wasn't the full-on arm guard that we're used to, but you see this little wrist guard he has, and perhaps that's just caught him between that and, yeah, it's on the wristband of his glove.
Clearly hurt him because he put the bat down, then decided to run, didn't he?
Yeah, well,
when he saw Stokes was 3/4 of the way down towards him.
Good lively work from Stokes, because every run is crucial.
Wasn't that short, was it?
No.
A couple of people have joined us from Crick Tracker. Nairob Khan says hello. Imran Khan. I'm not sure which of the Imran Khans that is. And Rajesh Buva says England win. Well, perhaps. But that probably wouldn't be the way to bet.
Root looks pretty jolly. He's certainly a lot jollier than he did yesterday when he was struck down with this bug and he was having to field under duress. He had to spend some time out in the park so that he could.
That was it.
Yeah.
It was getting him time in the middle so that if he needed to bat, he was able to bat, wasn't it?
Yeah. But
well, so what we saw earlier.
Some people have joined us on YouTube. Roy Manuel says 4th innings batsman would have to be Alan Border. That's a good shout. I would have gone for Gordon Greenwich, who was.
Yeah, I thought of Greenwich.
Mahin Rana 7861 says, which are your best 3 tests of the year as per your opinion? We'll have to think about that one.
Best 3 tests of the year.
Well, for England it would be Headingley.
Had to be Headingley.
Was the Sri Lanka similar escape this year? I think it was.
It was, yeah,
in
it was.
2019.
Very much so.
Safa's in complete control, says Alex de Pfeffel, with lots of emojis. And Dan De Castro says New Zealand declaration win versus Pakistan in UAE as one of his best of the year. Maybe this one if it gets to day 5. Either way, and then it's ... and nothing. So we wait to hear what else Dan De Castro comes up with.
I'd say a lot of people would say that 2 of the best tests of all time taken place this year. I think people were hastily writing up those lists or trying to rank the Headingley match and the Sri Lanka chase, and they were both right up there. So we've been spoiled.
And the other great debate, of course, is of the 2 Headingley tests, both of them 81 and Stokes 19. Which was the better of the 2? I still say 81 because in the end it was series defining and the win. As wonderful as if you compared them as innings in isolation, then you might say Stokes more than both.
Nokia Full gets an edge, really well fielded by Duplessis. It bounced well short of him. Stokes managed to keep it down, but it flew off that edge. Nokia still at 91 miles an hour. He can be threatening when he's full because he's so quick. But Stokes playing down the line and playing with soft enough hands, and Faf does really well to save 4 runs. There's no third slip, so he was the widest man, and he flung himself, got it in that left mitt. And that's the sort of thing that can give a bowler a real boost. You know, you hate to see those ones dribble down for easy runs. So Nokia's charging in again, and on a good off-stump line, and he feels it himself, threatens the shy. He's got a bit of nastiness to him as well, Nokia.
Well, bowlers of that pace generally do.
He's got some attitude. And Stokes, you've got to meet Stokes fire with fire, haven't you? But maybe Stokes, it'll only serve to keep Stokes on his mettle.
A definite style recently to Ben Stokes, probably since Bristol. I'm not saying that they're necessarily linked. I'll just hold the thought for a second.
Yeah. Look here, quick and short, and Stokes is trying to pull. He's late on it, goes through to the keeper.
That was seriously quick.
And he's practicing his. Stokes knows his hands need to be quicker, but really fearsome one from Nokia, just passed through at waist height.
But yeah, I was going to say, so the early part of the innings, patient, watchful, correct, but bar that one. And then,
he's into the next phase now.
Explosion later on.
Nestle Boy has either remembered or invented more of this dream. He says it continues after this ball.
That one nearly knocked the cock off his feet. This is sizzling stuff from Nokia. Again, it's back of a length, and Stokes does bring out the pull. He gets something on it, not the middle, but he'll get a single out to deep square leg where second is stationed.
Nestler says, I then ran after KP and tried to calm things and get him back in, but you were hurling items at us from the bedroom. That's Hendo. One of which was the Bears' bass guitar. He ran off down the hill.
Who did? KP or the Bear?
Yeah.
KP ran off down the hill.
He did.
Being assaulted by various musical instruments flung by Hendo out of the bedroom window. That's extraordinary.
Bass guitars are too good for KP. Throw something useless at him. Nokia with the bumper, which is too short, and Root happy to duck underneath and survive it. Another really pacey Nokia over. His Root is flexing that wrist and seems to be okay, but he took a knock on that one, and he goes and chats to his vice captain in England. Just 208 short, a mere 208 short, the 7 wickets in that.
Does Nestle mention at all what cocktail or substances he'd been taken prior to that particular dream?
Or
was it just a lot of cheese?
It's a typical Nestle Saturday evening. Abhijato Sensama gives us a Test 11 of the year. Karuna Ratna, Agrawal, Labuscagni, Stephen Smith, Virat Kohli, Ben Stokes, Watling, Jadeja, Cummins, Broad, and Neil Wagner. The 12th man, Jack Leach, because Jack Leach, we are missing out the man who along with Stokes, played perhaps the innings, one of the great Test innings of all time. In the Sri Lankan win against
Pretorius going round the wicket to Stokes. It's a loopy, slow one which he defends. You're talking about Kusal Pereira, but he's been dropped.
Yeah, I know.
So
but I mean,
if
you play one of the great innings of all time and you can't even get in the Test Team of the Year, it's
no, I can't argue that 11. I think it's perfect. Sorry, Kusal.
You'd probably have more West Indies and Ireland players in there, I would have thought. Have Ireland played a Test this year?
Yes, at Lords. No.
Oh, at Lords.
And at Afghanistan. And in Afghanistan. Yeah. Driven by Stokes up to Rabada, who fields. No run.
Pretorius physically looks very much like Morris, doesn't he? There's something about the two of them that they look almost like they could be brothers.
Yeah. It is. It's uncanny. Similar hair. Well, no, it is. I've missed. Yeah, it's confused me. Pretorius similar height as well, maybe an inch or two shorter, and he beats Stokes with a really good one. They just held its line. Stokes didn't need to play at it, but was drawn towards it like a moth to a flame.
I tell you, you're not a football man, are you, Rog?
A little bit.
Do you know Van der Beek, who plays for Ajax and the Netherlands?
The name rings. Is he another good looker?
He's good looking. So obviously a personal point of choice, but he's basically Morning Morkel in a football outfit.
Okay.
In terms of physical facial expressions,
right.
Extraordinary.
I do love a good looky like it. Stokes gets across the stumps to cover that line and defends back to Pretorius. And with Pretorius's pace, you can come at him and negate some of his threat.
There is a player for Holland with a remarkably Scottish name, which is Denzel Dumfries.
Denzel Dumfries,
Yes.
hey.
Denzel Dumfries plays for Holland, I think in PSV.
Continue around the wicket again. Stokes steps across his stumps, but this one's even wider and he leaves it alone. Good little battle this. Stokes has faced 27 balls, as Tony was saying. It's very, very familiar method now from watching Stokes in Test match batting. He famously did it on that third evening at Headingley. Was it 3 off 61, 60 something balls?
It was
3 not out. He got
that
to
was
the
all
close.
about just survival, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yet suddenly clicked into, I think we can win this gear.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it myself.
But he's he's bats at 5, so he got to build an innings responsibly. And again, he's leaving a wide one. He won't be drawn into this Jacques Callis-like method of Pretorius. I think I thought that earlier, that Pretorius is going to be employed as that dry bowler who will be
De Grandhomme, who caused
Yeah.
England so much trouble in New Zealand.
Yep.
You know, you look at the New Zealand attack, you think, well, we'll see
Well,
off Bolt and Southey, and then De Grandhomme picked up a lot of wickets when
Yeah.
England sort of
I was thinking
lose
more
a bit of concentration.
Yeah, I was thinking more De Grandhomme. It is sort of very wicket to wicket, whereas Pretorius will hang it outside off stump,
Yeah.
maybe for periods, as a sort of traditional South African tactic, which was best employed by Jacques. But yeah, old De Grandhomme got stuffed again last night. The Kiwis.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you have
Despite-
to credit Australia because they've demolished New Zealand 2 tests in a row. I think we were hoping for a more even series than neutral,
I was
if
listening
indeed
to
we
some
are
of
on
that.
neutral.
Blundell, Tom, was it Tom Blundell?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did particularly well, at 114, I think.
Bowling change, and it's pacer for pacer as Root leaves this first one harmlessly outside of stump. But this man's back into the attack, the number 2 bowler in the world, indeed.
He is, possibly in a minute, if I find him. Here he is.
What's his name? He's a high roller, rock and roller, scariest, deadliest, killing this bowler. He can sink your outside the Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one.
And Kagisu's in, this one stays low. Root gets a bottom edge to down to the slips safely. And Razi van der Dusen's in a slightly better mood there, him and De Kock enjoying a laugh. There's been a couple of tense moments between those two, but this one dribbled in their direction, and again they both were jockeying for who should field it.
Andrew Sampson tweeted that Blundell, this was the first time he'd opened, and it was the highest score. Whoa.
Oh, Root pulls out right at the last minute, but he properly pulls out. He backpedals all the way to square leg just before Kagiso got into his delivery stride. It's all smiles. There's no jiggery pokery. I don't know what it was behind the bowler. Hopefully something amusing. Maybe a Santa hat. It caused Steve Smith some bother. He was waiting. He wasn't ready. I suppose he turned round.
Well, he should have been. The batsman was supposed to be ready when the bowler's running in.
Yeah, he was faffing around in his stance, and then he looked up and he was about to be bowled at and thought, no. But he's waiting for this one, turning it off his hip. Quick single to Elgar's right hand, well recognised, and Stokes gets through for one.
Yeah, I was saying that Blundell had never opened before, and this was the highest score by somebody who'd never opened before. It was the first century in a test match by somebody who had never previously opened.
That's
So,
interesting, yeah.
You know,
It's
good for
almost
him.
interesting.
Sorry, Andrew, if you're listening.
No, it's a good one. Because was he a reserve keeper when he first came in, Blundell? He batted at 5
Yeah, he
or 6,
was.
yeah, and he got a ton in his first test. And I think this was his 3rd match. Put up
He's
to open
making
because
a case.
Jeet Raval has failed the examination. Rabada outside Stokes is off stump, left alone. Poor old Jeet. I just like saying his name in a Kiwi accent. Jeet.
Is that a Kiwi accent?
Well, it's my attempt at one.
Woiwo Pom got a reply from KP recently on Twitter. When that is, Woiwo Pom said KP was just showing off his expensive wine. Okay. Time to round up some GPL contestants. 10 minutes to go.
Oh yes, thanks for the reminder. As Stokes very calmly waits on the back foot and defends Rabada into the offside.
That's from Messages, who's trying to build the pot so he can come in and sneak a victory. Brian001, new name on me, says, good morning again from a grey Sunday morning in Northampton. Thanks again for all your commentary, insights and laughs. Which one of us is which? I was looking to send New Year's beers and cheers, but Deliveroo no longer lists a suitable local business.
Well,
well,
they're
maybe
springing up
Pizza
all over.
Express or
They're
something.
springing up all over the place in this neck of the week. Craft beer shops. Rabada fools almost caught and bowled. Stokes pushed it back aerially.
Everything could have happened there.
Rabada flung a right hand at it. It hit the stumps as well, but he didn't get anything on it. And but Stokes just prodding with a big meaty middle of his bat, and it almost carried. How close was he? Well, it was dying as well, and Root was safely back in his crease. Maybe it was just it was about 8 inches away from Rabada's despairing dive, but of course he has to go back into the opposite direction from his follow through. And England survive, 169 for 3. Those GPL entries, how many runs have we had today? Not many. 48. And we're 8 minutes from lunch. So England have been very circumspect. Oh, it's all on the screen for me. Thank you, thank you, Supersport. And the over rate hasn't been great. Only 12.1 overs per hour. So it's just before lunch. Therefore, you've got to open that page 1 of the captain's handbook and bring on this man.
There's a bowler there from South Africa. Started up bowling pace, but he made the switch. I wonder why, but he's known as Keshav.
There he is.
Yeah. Good change. This the only spin we've seen in the match has been 10 overs in this innings. It was only 4 in the first innings from Maharaj, but he has 1 for 16 in this go, and he's round the wicket to Root, who stretches forward immaculately. His first ball on middle stump, playing it friendly back to the bowler. But yeah, it was Maharaj who made the breakthrough last evening when he got Sibley caught and bowled. He's got slip and a short leg for Root, who's driving this one through mid off. There's a man at long off, and he gets a single to go to 12 from 32. Stokes just on 4. And how have you made of England's approach this morning, chaps?
Well, I think they've lost 1 more wicket than they would want to, and I think both wickets they will be frustrated about. Burns certainly, it came onto him quickly, but probably a shot he didn't need to be playing, and he got it all wrong anyway. And I think even Denley might look back and go, well, did I really need to be flicking across the line at that?
Maharaj, of course, over the wicket to the left-handed Stokes, who scrappy drive to short mid-on. There's no run.
As a result of which, I mean, I guess you'd rather probably have still had Burns there, because there's a feeling that... Oh, just a second there.
Get a full one that turns into Stokes, hits him on the pad, is maybe an inside edge.
I think also possibly quite high.
Yeah, but there's
one has a feeling that if an opening batsman just really digs in, it gives the rest of the team confidence to play around that foundation. And having lost those 2,
yeah, that one hit Stokes on the back thigh. This time he's defending with the meat of the bat into the offside.
Burns somehow was possibly the greater loss of the 2.
Yeah. And any concerns about England's scoring rate, or you think they're just going about it the right way?
I don't think batting is that straightforward. I think they're in a mindset of survival. It's quite hard to break out of that.
Yeah, and Stokes, who pumped Maharaj for 2 sixes in the first innings, will just defend that last ball of his first over today. It's 170 for 3. I'd like to see that LBW appeal again. I think that was close. Hit him on the back pad. It turned a lot, and he's very crouched, Stokes, when he gets put in that forward defence position. So, rarely will it. And don't forget, Maharaj quite not the tallest bowler either. It was a slightly slingier delivery. I don't know if it would have gone over the stumps, Fred.
I don't know. I like you, I would like to see it again. Maybe it sometimes takes him a minute or 2 to get the Hawkeye primed. A couple of people have joined us on Quick Tracker. Ibra Ahmed says Africa win. Sachin Kumar says India will win World Cup 2020 T20. Well, they might, but it's not really relevant. And MD Robtul says nice.
That's right. You keep them honest, Fred. I like that. That's what you're here for. Rabada, maybe just one more over before lunch. He's hustling into Root, who rejects a quick single on the offside. England might want to do some stalling here. 4 minutes on my watch until lunch. But I think South Africa would be well advised to try and get Maharaj another over.
Yeah, he bowled well. Gave it plenty of air.
Yeah, and he turns it.
He turns it.
And there are cracks in this pitch. He's turned it in the previous days.
Even though the ground, of course, has this reputation of not being good for spinners.
There's a forward short leg for Rabada. He bowls full and Root defends into the offside.
There must be a joke about Irish cricket and crack in the pitch. I'm sure
well, you're the
something along those lines.
The ground clock says 1 minute to lunch, so this will be the last over. Yeah, Fred, you're the very man to construct such a joke.
Yeah, but I'm not entirely sure of the idiom, so I might get it slightly wrong. Well, I'll leave it in your case.
Did you say big round clock or big ground clock?
Ground clock.
Oh, because I thought it's not round, it's a
Sorry,
digital clock. It's a big square one.
A bumper over the arse of Root. Stokes will hopefully be taking off his gloves.
You've got about a minute for the GPL.
Yeah.
Get those last minute entries in.
Now, if Mark Ramprakash was out there, he would look to he would go to lunch on the attack. This is something. Yeah, this was something a friend of mine had studied a lot of Ramprakash.
We're looking at.
Did we not talk about this, Fred?
Not that I recall.
I thought we'd.
So why I put imagination on is Butler looking quite. Is that Butler?
It is Butler in the middle.
Yeah. I think he's looking quite peaky.
Yeah, he was certainly.
He was one of the victims of the bug.
Burst. Yeah. This one's on Root's hip. He plays it safely to the man at short leg.
The next test starts on Friday, and today is Sunday.
And you'll be there?
Yes, I hope to be.
God
So there's not a huge amount of time to recover, but I mean, it depends what kind of bugs these are. It might be just a couple of days, but it's certainly going to cause some issues in the camp. And are they thinking of flying other people out? Maybe a wicket keeper?
Well, another one.
Yeah, no, a proper one.
Rabada, back of a length, Root defending, no run.
I mean, they've got Bruce French out there as wicket-keeping coach. I said, just leave Bruce French behind and take a wicket-keeper instead.
They've got the Somerset pair who came out as backup, haven't they?
Yeah, Overton and Bess.
Yes, Overton and Bess.
Well, if Butler's down, call for folks is my...
Well, they won't. They won't, because Pope and Bairstow
must be on the road to recovery.
I think Pope. I know he practiced yesterday, and he was sitting in the sheds in his training kit. Rabada, the last ball before lunch is full and on a good length, a thick edge from Root, but all along the ground. He'll jog a single to go to lunch on 13 not out, and England's captain and vice captain are at the helm with this match fascinatingly poised. England 171 for 3. We're 205 short. They're still not even halfway there, but you see 7 wickets in hand. They will fancy their chances. 2 wickets for Faf's Proteas this morning after Burns and Denley had negotiated the first hour very well, but the introduction of
Tony to the commentary.
Yeah, and Nokia with the ball surprised Burns with the bouncer. He was caught at mid-on, and then Pretorius, the next relief bowler, picked up Joe Denley for 31 LBW, and that's your session. 50 runs, 2 wickets, 25 overs. Neat look to that. We'll take a 40-minute break. Do you want to read any more
no,
tweets
we're up to date.
No, good.
Then we should take a break. I will play something, but I'll need someone to help me figure out what. Well, I don't even know how to do random, so Fred, you can come and help me out there.
Well, can't have dead air, can we? While these two wibble. Let's what any other cricket in the world today? Let's check up cricket info. We know that Australia beat New Zealand by 247 runs. Peter Siddle announced his retirement. I had a banana in his honour this morning. Good old servant had a hat-trick on his birthday. Who could forget? Point of Subtle. In the Big Bash, the Melbourne Renegades require another 152 to beat the Adelaide Strikers. What? Are we ready to go for the new thing? No? Okay, well I can fill, yeah. Earlier, the Sydney Derby, well we brought you news of that. That was one on Super Over. There must be some really random cricket out there for me to discover. Ranji Trophy, they've been playing some games. Here we go. Oh, they finished up yesterday. A whole lot of. Let me just do a roundup of the Ranji Trophy. MNP Manipur beat Ayarpur by 84 runs in a low-scoring affair at Dibrugarh. Kangabam Singh with 43 and 60 in the match. Look out for Kangabam Singh. But we'll get back to that after lunch. Here's some highlights.
It will be the World Cup, England and South Africa.
At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sankara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. But first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. People like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away. We will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. Fall in the heaven, I'll dance my life away. They say 2000 party over, rules out of time.
The World Cup returns to England's backyard for the first time in 2 decades. You might be tempted to say that cricket's coming home, but if so, the hurt runs very deep indeed. Because England have never won the darn thing. Semi-finalist runners-up in the first 5 editions. They've now had only 2 quarter-finals to sustain them since then. But with a golden generation and a reinvention in the way they play, the experts say they'll never have a better chance. If they can do it, the country will celebrate with a vigour that's been rarely seen since Prince's famous ditty brought the curtain down in an old millennium. And while India, Australia, New Zealand and Pakistan may have a word to say on that matter, today it's another perennial underachiever in the form of South Africa who have the chance to voice their opposition. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Gorilla Cricket. I'm Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and I'm delighted to have your company at the beginning of a cricket extravaganza that consumes a month and a half in Earth hours and a total of 48 matches. And barring technical interventions by the ICC or the bods that regularly wipe us off YouTube and the ICC, we will be bringing you every ball from every one of those matches with more than a little help from our sister station, Gorilla Cricket South Africa. Alongside me this morning, I have two wonderful characters. It is indeed Nakul Mpandi on my left. He's on tweets and Crick Tracker. And on my right, on the jingles, it's Grubby himself. He's revealed why he's grubby. And if you want to know why he's grubby, you're going to have to come in and pay us 200 quid. Anyway, good morning to you guys. How are you feeling? What are we thinking? England, South Africa this morning. Oh, finally, the phony war is over.
Yeah.
And we're into the meat of the competition.
I'm very excited, Hendo. That's what I am.
Me too.
I feel bright and sprightly and chipper, which is not always the case.
No.
I've rushed back from a camping trip in Devon for this.
You've been in your yurt, haven't
so it's
you?
that important. Yeah.
How was the yurt?
It was round and very cold.
Very cold, I'm not surprised.
But great fun. We had some marvellous fires, and England will be hoping to set the world alight over the next 6 weeks.
Well, the most important thing we have to do before we... This is why we've come on early, because we have an amazing offer for you people out there in Gorilla Cricket Listendom. Because we now have teamed up with Betway to bring you fantastic odds on special bets. And Grubby has the gory details.
Yeah, what you should do, you should go to betway.com/GC Radio or click the button which is on our website, which you'll see is branded with Betway livery, or go to our pinned tweet on Twitter and click through that way. Various ways you can get to the landing page. You'll be able to register, sign up, and each day of the World Cup or each match you'll see that there will be special bets for Gorilla's eyes only. Today the special bet is England to win the game, Jos Buttler to score at least 50 runs and Adil Rashid to take at least 2 wickets. And that is priced up at 4-1. That's a special bet just for Gorillas. So get on there now before the game starts, get registered, find that bet and have a couple of quid on. And obviously the more of you register, the more lucrative the deal will be for us, and the more we'll be able to bring you this coverage and service for longer and longer. But go and check out betway.com/GC Radio and see what's. There's plenty of markets there, but as I say, that is the Gorilla special bet for today. England to win the game, Buttler to score 50 runs or more, and Adil Rashid to take at least 2 wickets. 4-1 that bet. That seems like a pretty good shout to me.
Absolutely brilliant. It's a beautiful day at the Oval. People are milling into the ground. It may be taking them a little bit longer than they might expect. They were telling people to get there really early this morning and take in the atmosphere. There are teams standing out there with balloons, enormous balloons. They're going to take off. My God, what's going to happen? I don't know. But I can tell you what has happened earlier. There has been a toss. And England lost it. Faf du Plessis, the great handsome man that he is. A lot of people going on about how handsome Faf du Plessis is. And we've seen topless pictures of him, which is quite unnerving. But we have news that England have been put into bat. South Africa will field. That's just to keep Grubby happy, because he hates it when people say teams are going to bowl. They're going to field.
Yeah,
and Team News will be brought to you by none other than Nakul Mpandi.
Good morning, Hendo. Good morning, Grubby. Hello, the cricketing world. Yes, the team news is that England only had the one selection choice to make between the sexy blacksmith Liam Plunkett and crazy horse Mark Wood, and they went with the big burly man with the beard, England's leading seam bowler since the 2015 World Cup, playing his second World Cup. It is Liam Plunkett. So England going with Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Joe Root, Captain Owen Morgan, wicketkeeper Jos Buttler, Ben Stokes, Moeen Ali, Chris Wokes, Adil Rashid, Jofra Archer and Liam Plunkett. South Africa shorn of the services of the wonderful Dale Steyn through a shoulder injury. We do expect him to be back for the third game of the tournament and possibly many more besides. They've also left out David Miller, which is a little bit of a surprise. Been such an important part of their middle order for so long. Chris Morris is also out. So they go in with Hashim Amla, Quinton de Kock, the wicketkeeper, Aidan Markram, Captain Faf du Plessis, Rossi van der Dussen, JP Duminy, two seam bowling all-rounders in Dwayne Pretorius and Andile Peshwayo, Kaisa Rabada, Lungi Ngidi, and Imran Tahir.
Oh, what a team that is. Of course, Imran Tahir, is he the oldest man in this competition? I think he is at
40 years old, yes.
Young. 40 years young, as they used to say on BBC Radio 1. Or on various quizzes.
Radio 2.
Radio 2 or something like that. Ken Bruce would probably utter that. Terry
Ken
Wogan.
Bruce,
Well, we've heard a lot about how this game, this opening game between England and South Africa, is going to be about England's crazy batsmen against South Africa's wonderful pace bowling, and perhaps a little bit of Imran Tahir thrown in for good measure. Is that how you see it, Bobby?
Yes, I think so. It is an enviable battery of fast bowlers that South Africa have at their disposal. I think in Kagiso Rabada they have one of the genuine global stars of today's game. He's got that beautiful action and seemingly effortless. Not dissimilar, I suppose, to Jofra Archer, the way he bowls for England now. And Lequeo and Gidi have been ably supporting. They're excellent players in their own right. Imran Tahir, the man of the stupid celebration as he legs it away to the boundary every time he takes a wicket. So yeah, it could be. Is it going to be the mountain, or is it going to be the other thing that moves?
The unstoppable force and the immovable thingy.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. And it's no surprise, is it, that South Africa, having won the toss, have elected to insert England.
No, we thought we'd be
because
inserted.
I think the statistic is that England have not lost a one-day international batting second for about 4 years at home.
That's phenomenal stuff.
So.
Yeah, that is.
But yeah, leaving out David Miller, a bit of a surprise, I thought, and maybe Aidan Markram has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. A man that perhaps is a little more suited his game to Test cricket than the one-day game. He only averages a little under 30 in this form of the game. Decent strike rate though, 88. But I should imagine that was the decision they made, whether it was going to be Markram or Miller.
Well, I would have said Markram on the basis. I think they're going on the basis that Markram's had a very good one-day cup season with Hampshire. I think a century in 350s. He's batted really well. I think second only to James Vince in the Hampshire averages in regards to that form of the game.
They've gone with a stroke player in Markram and Van der Dussen, who is a bit more powerful, but is not the power hitter that David Miller is.
Yeah, it does seem strange. I mean, looking through sort of stands, so we've got sort of printed up some records, stands, South Africa's ODI record, and I think David Miller has taken part in 3 of their record stands, which does make you wonder. Maybe they're looking further to the future. I mean, Miller, he's only 30 odd now.
He's also destroyed England in the past.
Yeah,
I mean, if you talk about doing the thing that the opposition least wants you to do, I should imagine England would be delighted not to see his name on the team sheet.
Yeah, I mean, he's a serious weapon. He hits the ball unbelievably hard and is the one real power hitter in this South African side. I mean, they've got class through the top order in Amla, De Kock and Faf du Plessis. We should say we've been joined by many dozens and hundreds and thousands and millions of you on Twitter and Facebook Live.
Hey, we're gonna tweet you up very soon. In fact, maybe now.
Just do it now. Yeah.
Why not?
Yes, a few people were anxious for our arrival, Arthurshire and Linux Lear, but the first tweet of the tournament goes to Dave Wood, who says,
Dave.
"Hello, can I get in the first doomed of the tournament?"
Absolutely, quite right.
Mog says World Cup with world in apostrophes in speech marks.
Oh yes,
we're aware of the and we have banged on relentlessly about the contracted nature of this tournament, but
we've got a t-shirt about that.
About effing time, he says. Alec Patton says, World Cup, World Cup, World Cup. I'm so happy I'm running around my work, unable to contain my excitement. Kiwi Callie is with us.
Hello, Kiwi Callie.
Yay, it's finally here. Kia ora from the home of the mighty Black Caps. Kunal Talani is with us. Hello, Guerrilla Cricket. Been a very bad week since the last minute change to visa rules has put my application on hold at the embassy, so the World Cup finally beginning is a relief. And you guys, hello. Imagine calls us the A-Team. Linux Lear
what does A stand for, though?
Linux Lear is asking Hendo to take his clothes off.
Oh, really? Why?
How much?
I don't think you prepared for that amount of flesh. To be fair.
A few more people with us. David Perry is with us. Jay Grover says, morning all, isn't this jolly exciting?
Oh, it is.
Jolly Darko says, licking my lips and the marmalade at the prospect of the first hour of the World Cup. John Appleby says, ready for the World Cup on Guerrilla Cricket, hoping for an England versus New Zealand final.
Yeah, I'll settle for that.
Al Hotchkiss says, hope the tournament is as good as the commentary is going to be. Have a great one today. EDM Larkin says, good luck, chaps. Looking forward to an enhanced World Cup with you, if only there were more teams, and so say all of us. Vladas is with us. Yoel is with us. Armchair Cricket Podcast is with us. And Pirate Badshah and Chris TB are with us. Chris TB says South Africa had England 20 for 6 in the last ODI between these sides. Wouldn't mind seeing that again. And of course, that was the other side of London with Kaisa Rabada wreaking havoc.
Well, that would be an amazing start to the tournament if England found themselves 20 for 6 in the first game, wouldn't it? I mean, in one way, I wouldn't mind seeing that because it would be so remarkable. In another way, I'd be really upset.
I could see you storming off.
Yeah, I could. I might well storm out. We might have to have people ready
and
to take
just
over.
to avoid that happening, Hendo. And for that reason only, I don't want to see it happen.
Okay, fair enough.
We've also, you can, as well as listening to us on GorillaCricket.com and on TuneIn, you can watch us watching cricket on Facebook.com/GorillaCricket and Facebook.com/Crick Tracker. And loads of you have come in with comments. We'll go to Crick Tracker first. Smiley Rahul says, who will win? And I think England are favourites. England are favourites for this game and for the tournament. But I think South Africa are playing to their strengths in bowling first on a pitch that isn't that green. I mean, judging by the sun baking down on South London, it should bake off pretty quickly.
Well, as Duplessis said at the toss, he said, look, if there's going to be any movement today on this pitch, it's going to be in the first hour. But I'd say that's a big if. It's going to be a decent batting track. They probably, by and large, they all are going to be. It's going to favour the bat this tournament, I suspect. It's a lovely, bright, sunny day there in South London at the Oval. In stark contrast to yesterday, where it was steady drizzle the whole day. So thank goodness for that.
The players and the captains getting drenched on the mall during the opening ceremony, and indeed the Queen.
That was a crazy opening ceremony, wasn't it? Because basically, why would you hold it in the mall? I know it's just down the road from where the Queen is, but nobody goes down there really, do they? It's very quiet at that time.
Well, the Queen was hosting a garden party, so it had to be somewhere near.
Could they not take them to Trafalgar Square or somewhere like that? We got everyone out of the galleries. Come out the gallery, come and see some real art.
The reason I know that the Queen was hosting a garden party, it was a garden party for MBE winners and so forth recent times. My girlfriend's grandmother was one of the recipients and has an excellent photo of her photobombing the Queen.
What did she win her MBE, or what was she awarded her MBE for?
Being a pillar of the community, I believe.
I think we're pillars of the community, sort of, aren't we?
Yeah.
Very strange community.
Would you accept it?
Said.
Anyway.
No, I wouldn't know. No.
The wonderfully named Ebony Ivory says South Africa are winning today. Milton Frank is with us. Siley Rahul says Miller is not there, and also says chasing is not easy. Avik Mudji is with us. Shams Salozi is with us. Pava King and Usha Pavan are with us. Roshan Gamage from Sri Lanka. Paresh Joshi, Salman Khan, not the Bollywood actor, is with us. Milton Frank in with us again. Licky Licky, Manik Islam, Mohammad Nazir, S.H. Ahmed Zai, Riaz Anjum Chauhan, Mohammad Asad. Gladwin Bengard is very unhappy about the exclusion of David Miller. Ebony Ivory says Rassi van der Dussen is not like a power hitter like David Miller, as you said, but he is a fearless cricketer and can bring the team to the brink of winning the World Cup. Ubaid Khan is with us, Salman Chavon and Imran Khan Karime are with us. And on our very own Facebook page, Peter Miller is watching. Sean Nestle Boy Tracy is watching. He'll be with us very shortly. And Bruce Monaghan says, morning. Come on, England.
Hello there, Bruce.
Before it all collapses,
up the Queens.
Before it all collapses into a heap.
Well, England are out there, and oh no, this is a wonderful start to the game. This is phenomenally interesting because the opening bowler for South Africa in the 2019 World Cup is going to be this man.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. Whatever it takes, or how my heart breaks, I will be right here waiting.
It's a great, an excellent tactic, I think, because he'll be bowling to this man.
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
Well, I suppose it's inevitable that when you're bowling to Jason Roy, you will pray. And he has indeed seemed to utter a little prayer at the end of his angular run-up. He'll be coming in to bowl to the Surrey player, who's been in absolutely fabulous form. Certainly in terms of figures. There have been a couple of games I've watched in that one-day series against Pakistan where I didn't think he was quite at his best. He was a little bit lucky early on, a few inside edges, outside edges that went for four. But in terms of runs scored, he's been in absolutely incredible form.
And also played possibly the greatest shot of his career, that back foot drive over extra cover.
Yeah.
But wrist spin to Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow. Very exciting.
From the Vauxhall end, and he pushes firmly up towards mid-off, wide of mid-off. In fact, they're going to come through for a single. The first run is scored. They're going to get a buzzer. No, they're not. They're not. They're going to be sent back. And enough of that stupidity. Bairstow is, well, he was about 3 yards down coming for the second, and Roy decided that, well, he'd run too far past the wicket. And so they decided against trying to take the second. So Bairstow comes to face. We shall jingle him up in a minute because he's got a very long jingle. I'm not sure we've got time to get it in when Imran Tahir is bowling. He's just tossing the ball in his left hand, coughing into his fist, and getting ready. He's got Hashim Amla at slip for Johnny Bairstow. Johnny Bairstow's been in pretty good order as well. I love watching Johnny Bairstow at the top of the order.
He did struggle a little bit against Kuldeep Yadav's wrist spin in the series last year, and I think wrist spin is a very bold call by Faf du Plessis. Is a lot more tactically flexible than a lot of South African captains have been in the past. Very impressive leader, and this is South Africa making the early running.
We've spoken about it extensively, particularly to Roy. I would always open with the spinner, to Jason Roy.
Yep, here is Tahir into Bairstow. Bairstow saved by that! In fact, he's edged it, and he's gone! First ball! Would you believe it? Imran Tahir is off! He's racing to any fans that he can find in green shirts. Imran Tahir has struck. Johnny Bairstow has got a golden duck on the first morning of the 2019 World Cup. England are 1 for 1. What a blow! Well,
And what a delicious delivery from Imran Tahir. Gorgeously tossed up delivery, just holding back. It was an attempted googly actually out the back of the hand. It just didn't turn, but Roy was reaching for it, never got to the pitch of the ball, and just took the thin outside edge. Quinton de Kock made no mistake. What a start!
Incredible stuff, really.
A classic leg break, wasn't it?
I just think it was one that didn't do very much, and I think he was playing for maybe the googly, and it didn't turn into him, just stayed on the same line. And he, in the end, when you look at it in slow motion, he got quite a thick edge to that, so well done to Quinton de Kock for holding on to it.
A lovely bit of flight and deception by Tahir.
But that means it's time for people on the Twitter sphere to point out that we are green.
And the new batsman.
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pit, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
New tournament, new kit for England, and new jingles for us.
That is certainly a new jingle. He's rather, in a rather laboured fashion, just scratching out his mark. But that is an enormous statement made by South Africa. And it could only happen to England. Could it only happen to England that they would get a golden duck on the first morning of the World Cup? They haven't staged for 20 years.
How many other teams do you think will now start with spin to Roy and Bairstow
well, it's like
this?
Deepak Patel all over again, isn't it? Remember when he opened the bowling for New Zealand? In comes Imran Tahir, bowls to Root, and that is the googly. And he's got bat and pad very close together and just pushes out into the offside. And Imran Tahir comes through to retrieve the ball. Well, those many people in the crowd who are adorned, decked in green, will be absolutely ecstatic at the moment. Here comes Imran Tahir again. He's in. Bowls to Root. What's happened there? Oh my goodness me! What was he doing going back to that? He should have been forward. Came back into him, but he got a thick inside edge. It's gone to square leg. But this is a nervy start from England, and really, well, we talked about whether the ball was going to do much, whether it was going to do anything for the seamers and the seam bowlers. But it's not a seamer. It's not a quick bowler who's caused damage. Onto the back foot goes Root, plays it back to the bowler, and there is no run.
I mean, that's kind of classic Imran Tahir. He doesn't turn his leg break a great deal, but that googly got serious rip on it, and as you say, Root, as he tends to do against the spinners early on, going back, and almost was very lucky to get that thick inside edge.
Yep, final ball of the over. Forward comes Root, and just turns the ball towards mid-wicket. That is the end of the first over of the 2019 World Cup, and England at the end of it find themselves 1 for 1. We didn't even have time for Johnny Bairstow's jingle.
Didn't even get his jingle. So listen, the other thing we'll be doing with Betway is we'll be reminding you of in-running odds, one of which will obviously be the match result. Now, I know that England were about 1-2 to win this game at the start. I should imagine they are, a longer price than that now. So go to betway.com/GC Radio, or click on the button on our pinned tweet or on our home page and see what those odds are now, because you might get a much better price about England now, and if you still fancy England to come through this and ultimately to triumph in this game.
Well, in one way, it's not bad. It's a big test psychologically of England to lose one of their main batsmen his first ball of the morning.
Asif Safi on Facebook Live says South Africa will definitely win this match because the home team will feel it's all too much for them.
Well, we are going to not see Kagiso Rabada initially. We're going to see Lungi Ngidi bowl.
Domination is the name of the game. In cricket or life, they're both just the same. So go get the guy.
Here he comes. He's got 2 slips for Jason Roy. He's in, bowls back of a length, and there's some discomfort there from Roy as he played that down towards backward point. Just seeing it skip a little bit off a length, I think. And no run is scored.
And Guidi's a big, strong man, 6'4" or so. Gets that bounce from a length. Usually tends to take the ball into the right-hander, so it's something to watch for Jason Roy on his inside edge.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder whether that's a good way to get Roy. He just plays with his bat slightly away from his body at times, playing the expansive shots, and can leave a little bit of a gap. Anyway, he settles down and waits for Ngidi in again. Slightly fuller, but he's pushing at that, and it springs off the middle of the bat down to long leg. He'll take another single. England move to 2 for 1, and Roy has both of those runs.
This is Ngidi's first ODI in England, I believe.
Ah, there you go.
Natal has put together an extensive stat pack about South Africa. We've all been doing various teams, and that's one that I've plucked shamelessly from there, Knuckle. So.
Yeah, that's right. He's had a bit of an injury record of late, missed the IPL for Chennai Super Kings, but I think South Africa pulled a lot of their fast bowlers out in sort of precautionary manner. Stain and Rabada and Ngidi all possibly could have played another more of the IPL than they did, but they wanted them fit and firing for this tournament, and rightly so.
Yeah, good planning. Good planning.
Well, of course, the last time Jason Roy was at the Oval was only Monday when he hit a very fast 89 against Afghanistan, but this is of a different order. It's root facing now. First ball from Ngidi. Still 2 slips. He's in and goes onto the back foot, plays one of his favourite shots, a lovely drive, but straight to cover, and there is no run.
Rubina Sheikh Kanser says South Africa, heart eyes emoji. Ebony Ivory says Lungi, bring some beauty. Junaid Hassan Robel says South Africa. Ebony Ivory says JP Duminy may be a crucial part-time bowler.
Don't mention that to the bear.
I'm quite interested to see, actually, given now that Imran Tahir's had his one over, do you think they'll take him off and maybe go and bring Rabada on?
No, I don't think
not
they
with
will.
Roy there.
No, I don't think they will.
Not with Roy there.
They've got to keep him going for one more over at least. Of course, you know, that's the kind of thing that happens in the IPL at much shorter spells anyway. This is nicely timed by Root as he leans forward and plays up to mid-off. There is no run. It gives Root a chance to get in there and bat for 50 overs more or less, doesn't it? I know 1 or 2 people are critical of Root being a little bit slow, they think. I think that's only in comparison to really Roy and Bairstow and 1 or 2 of the others. If you actually look at the ICC rankings, he's the highest ranked England batsman in one-day cricket.
Yeah, and in the last few years he's striking at very nearly 100.
Yeah, he's pretty much up there. You'd be surprised how few people in one-day cricket are actually around about 100. Wide and driven, and that's beautiful. If you put it there, Joe Root will dispatch you any time of the day or night. That is 4. Some of the nerves settling in English stomachs just a little bit with that shot. To be fair, most batsmen worth their salt would have put that one away. It wasn't really. It was floated up there by Ngidi. And onto the front foot he came, bending that front knee, bending that back knee as well, and then holding the pose. What a thing of beauty that was.
What a handsome first boundary of the 2019 Men's World Cup.
Indeed. There are going to be lots of firsts today as Ngidi comes in to complete the over, and with the angle, Root works this down to long leg. Are they thinking about a second here? No. Well, they were thinking about it. They decided against it. I think it was Rabada down there doing the fielding. And that is the end of the second over. England are 7 for 1.
Eventful.
Eventful indeed.
Eventful indeed. Pirate Badshah says, morning all, there's a neutral in this World Cup uphill cheering for whoever looks like an underdog. Let's slip dogs of cricket war.
Well, England at the moment then.
Josh Hoover says, good morning Gorillas. Getting up an hour early here on the east coast of America. We have listeners all over the world, all 193 countries and some that don't actually exist. To listen to you natter on before the opener was a no-brainer. Arthur says, are we absolutely sure David Miller hasn't signed a last-minute Colpack deal and ruled himself out? It would be a very South African World Cup development. Tim Cricket Guy is bigging us up. Tim Everingham is bigging us up and tells us something unnecessarily personal.
This is Imran Tahir remaining on, coming in from the Vauxhall end. Root just calmly eases this down to long on. One of the deep fielders, or one of the men outside the 30-yard circle for the time being. He takes a single, moves to 6, England 8 for 1. Looks like Faf is just trying to alter the field. Is he taking the slip out? He's taking the slip out. Where's he going to? He's going to go to a leg gully or backward.
I love that we've got a field
square
radar.
leg. Yes, that is nice. I like that. That's a good invention. That's absolutely smeared by Roy. But I can't quite work out what happened there. Was it half stopped by Imran Tahir? They did run through for a single as the ball seemed to rebound out towards mid-on.
Yeah, I think he must have fielded that. I thought for a second it had crashed into the stumps,
Yeah,
but
so
had
did
it
I.
done so, surely...
It crashed into the umpire. Ouch! Right on the elbow. He could have done with the Oxenford guard, couldn't he? Root, again, just goes on his merry way, eases it up to long on. He's just going to have a little look and take the runs where they're on offer. He goes to 7, England into double figures, 10 for 1. A beautiful day at the Oval. It's breezy, but it's bright. There's a little bit of a wispy cloud in the sky as well. Now this is a flipper, I think, from Imran Tahir, which Roy goes back to, tries to force through the offside, but doesn't get enough leverage on that one. It's straight to the man at cover.
Yeah, a bit of a live note for Komodo Dharmasena. Bruce Oxenford is the other umpire.
Oh, right, okay. This pitches outside the leg, doesn't really turn, but it's eased off his hip by Roy out towards deep square leg. They'll take a single, 11 for 1.
Surely Oxenford could have loaned him the Brexit Shield,
He
couldn't he?
doesn't
He's the standing
He
umpire.
doesn't use the Oxen Shield very much in international.
Well, you might think twice
cricket.
about that now.
Pistol Paul Rifle, who won the '99 World Cup with Australia, is the third umpire.
It's a really dangerous looking sweep there from Root. Only finds the man at backward square leg. He took that right off middle stump. It was quite full, but that is the end of Tahir's second over. He has figures of 1 for 5.
Just the rest of the officials. Joe Wilson of the West Indies is the reserve umpire, and David Boone of Australia is the match referee. Evil Scooter says he'll be alternating between us and Guerrilla Cricket South Africa, our cousins. We are simulcasting this game in fancy broadcaster speak. Good to have the main course of the Northern Summer up early in the season for a change. Bring it on. Lou Britton Sack says good morning and good night from Folsom, California. Hopefully not Folsom Prison.
Howdy.
Linux Lear says any predictions on when England will Brexit the World Cup? Clovis the Apostate says, I'm nominally an Australian citizen, but I'll be barracking for Afghanistan, the West Indies and New Zealand. Andy and Brum says, morning effers. World of Dub says, evening, Guerrilla Cricket from Chile, Melbourne. Mog says...
edged by Roy as he comes forward, pushing at the ball, reaching for it, but it flies away through a fourth slip area down to third man, and they take a single.
I know we all got very excited about South Africa opening the bowling with Imran Tahir, but are we surprised?
A little. Imran Tahir is not a spinner who tends to open the bowling very much. He tends to bowl predominantly in the middle overs, even in T20 cricket. But it's good to see that Faf is a very good captain and a very sharp tactical mind.
And it's bloody worked.
I don't actually think you need a sharp tactical mind. I think it's almost an obvious thing to do in a way, isn't it? Because Roy does go at the ball, Bairstow does go at the ball, and we saw, you talk about Kuldeep Yadav as Ngidi is in again. He's played at that route. He's beaten outside the off stump, aiming a drive at that one. We talk about Kuldeep Yadav, and the success he had initially against England was in the T20s last year. And what he was doing, because you need to score the whole time in T20s, he had players coming at him. I think he got Bairstow and Root in successive deliveries, didn't he? And it was, at least one of those was stumped because someone was coming towards him.
Bairstow stumped off the googly.
When he got into the Test arena, he wasn't quite as comfortable when players didn't have to come at him.
Yeah,
but they do, to a certain extent, have to come at him in this tournament, just not as much. Here comes Ngidi into Root. Root goes back, defends into the covers, and there is no run. 12 for 1 England. If you're just joining us here on Guerrilla Cricket, welcome along. If you're a refugee from other known broadcasters, inferior types, then thank you for joining us, and never go back.
A little bit of in movement there from Lungi Ngidi, his trademark. Spin Shinwari is with us on our own Facebook page, and Ben Lowe is with us. Good day for it, gents. I'd rather be in the pub, but I'm at work right now. Ben in Cape Town.
It happens. It happens. People do have to work.
There's been so much going on. I haven't yet bought any beer.
No, well, I have something to say about it, which is quite interesting. In comes Ngidi, pulled. Lovely shot from Root. He's picked that up beautifully and rolled the wrists. And away it's gone to deep square leg for one of these.
It's me, says she. It's me, says she.
England move on to 16 for 1, and I don't want to say it, I'll have to touch wood, I'll have to find some wood to touch that wood for me, thank you. We use the thank you, obviously go for the head.
Mark?
That table, it's seen better days. Anyway, it'll do what we need it to do, which is not put the mockers on Joe Root.
And not fall down.
In comes Ngidi, bowls, he drives at that, a little bit aerial, just short of, is that
Duminy.
JP Duminy there at backward point, sporting a beard. I'm looking forward to JP Duminy coming into bat when the Bears on commentary, because he hates JP Duminy.
I'd say about Duminy that he's a man who's made the most of his talent and seems to have had more lives than a lucky cat.
I mean, the general consensus about Duminy is that he very much hasn't made the most of his talent, because he burst onto the scene with an unbelievable 100 at the whacker, and then just sort of has never quite convinced ever since.
That's it. Well, I suppose he raised the expectation level so high, the bar was lifted so high that he was always going to disappoint. He always looks good when he's driving, though, doesn't he? I mean, driving.
You looked great when you were driving over earlier this morning.
And Ngidi in again, bowls for Root, turns him round ever so slightly, fiddles it into the offside, and it's picked up at cover. That is the end of the 4th over. It's all happening very quickly today.
Perhaps I can use a horse racing analogy. So when Duminy burst onto the scene, he looked $1 million. If a horse does that, then he gets a handicap rating which is quite high, which might actually overstate that particular animal's talent. Maybe a similar thing happened with Duminy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people tend to. It takes a long time, I think, for the perception to catch up with the reality for a player. JP Duminy does have a terrible record in England. It is worth pointing out. Yeah, Mog got cut off part way, says pretty sure it'll be a Sri Lanka-Afghanistan final. Pigs may fly. Afghanistan are good, but Jesus Christ, Sri Lanka. Jay Grover says if it's even sunning in Sheffield, this must be an omen of doom. Josh Robinson says, morning comrades. Hard to see England winning this today. Batting fussy against this attack. I am, of course, sober as a Josh.
Hey.
Adelaide Barmy says, oh dear. Kiwi Callie says, you're effed, boys. Chris TB says, I'm going to be far too smug when we win this.
Tahir in, and Roy gives himself room. It's a short ball, it's not a good ball, and he's clubbed that away through extra cover for his first boundary. He's actually pitched a little bit short since he's got the wicket, has Imran Tahir, so it might not be the worst idea to get him off maybe after this one. We shall see how Roy progresses.
Well, and also you want him for the middle overs.
Well, yes, there is that as well. Here he comes again. Into Roy, tosses this one up. Roy meets it really well. Doesn't put too much into it, just steers it down to long on. And he takes a single. He goes into double figures. He has 10, Root has 11. England recovering slightly from their first over blip of 21 for 1.
Met it with a firm handshake.
He did, really.
Dr. Livingston, I presume.
So
I do like a firm handshake.
The men back are at long on and deep square leg.
Yes, indeed.
Just in front of square.